on?
And we're live. Well, yeah. Again, we did this. Did we just do this joke last week, Shawn?
I don't know.
We're live, probably. But not for you.
We're never live. Probably.
Unless you throw a lot of money at us, then fuck it, we'll go live.
And we might even too sweet you.
Yeah, probably not, though.
Probably not. So today we're covering probably. Well, I mean, I one of the quotes here, Dave Meltzer says this might be the greatest in-ring performance ever in company history, and that company is WWE. And this event is NXT TakeOver New Orleans from, I believe, April 7th, 2018.
Yep, day before WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
And this was requested by me.
Yes.
So you can all thank me directly for this, breaking up the monotony of battle royals and rumbles with this one. And hopefully we did have a request for another rumble, but we're definitely taking a small break from fucking battle royals and rumbles for a while here.
Yeah, well, you know.
I can only watch...
At least serious, long ones.
The gimmick battle royal, maybe we could do its own special little video for. Cause
I believe we're covering WrestleMania 17, and that is the gimmick battle royal in Mania month. So we'll get there.
Guys, yeah, thank God Shawn's here because he remembers. He's got the brain, and I've got the beard. Shawn has a beard too, though. You guys can't see that though. But hey, in future, again, you never know.
Yeah, hopefully.
But yeah, I remember this. I acquired it through a certain website.
The WWE Network?
Yes, absolutely. Definitely that one.
Oh,
back when it was live. And I watched it the next day. And I also watched WrestleMania. And I can very easily tell you this was so much better than WrestleMania.
Yes, that is a fact. That year it was not a tremendous WrestleMania by any stretch of the imagination. However,
I mean, it should have been because I remember I was at your place for the Rumble this year, and I popped hard for Shinsuke.
Oh yeah, for sure. He wanted.
I was super wasted too, but it was still a great show. And then we had that AJ Shinsuke match that was not as good as their Japan matches at all.
No, nowhere close.
It just didn't work out right. I don't know. I don't feel like either guy did anything wrong. It just wasn't. I don't know. Wasn't the same. Yep. But this show's better. So if you want to watch WrestleMania or this, just watch this. It's better, and it's like 16 hours shorter, I think.
Something like that. This is only 3 hours long, so it's the traditional classic pay-per-view length. But it's 5 matches, so be prepared for some serious. Like, you're going to be watching some longer matches on this one. But this show is relevant today because it's the last big NXT show before All In would sell out in only 30 minutes in May of 2018. Did you know that?
So this is like, and I think it's crazy. Like, we go from NXT to All Out, like boom, right
in.
There.
It was the first
or
one.
All In, All In, yeah. Like, it wasn't AEW yet, technically. It was
in the Observer at the time, Meltzer is calling it the Bullet Club All In show.
Which is pretty much what it was. And it was a good ass show, and it obviously spawned the dominant actual wrestling promotion in North America currently.
Yes, AEW, of course.
Yeah,
and quite a few stars on this thing are now AEW guys, you know.
Yeah, no, and you're going to hear me say a lot. Remember what happened to him on Maine? Hey. Yeah.
Yeah, well, speaking of Maine, I mean, this comes like a month before WWE made their huge, like, you know, $2+ billion TV rights deals with USA and Fox.
Yep.
And Jericho was like just starting. Well, I don't know, just starting, but I don't think he had made even his second appearance in New Japan yet. And
I think he already attacked because he attacked Omega to start.
I think he might have even already had a match with Omega, but I don't think.
So now he's on to Okada, I think, next, right?
Yeah.
Or was there a guy in between? I know Okada was in there, but
yeah.
And this is before versus the Painmaker. Yeah. Do
you remember when the McMahons all came out and promised change to the WWE universe? That was later this year. I think it was the end of this year. So this is before, in a lot of ways, this is kind of the beginning of an end of an era as we know it, which is kind of interesting and sad in retrospect, because this looks like the beginning of an era, but in reality, it's the beginning of an end of an era.
Yeah. And, of course, NXT continues to be very good up until very recently when I don't know if you saw it today though, but NXT officially, as of today, for at least the foreseeable future, answers directly to Bruce Pritchard, just like Raw and SmackDown do. So it's just the C show now. That's all it is. Yep. Instead of trying to give, instead of giving your fans, hey, do you like this? Like back when Raw and SmackDown, SmackDown was the wrestling show, Raw was the big, Why would we want that? I mean, I like that. I like that Lil Rick got a title. Just call him Lil Rick. That's a perfect wrestling name for him, Lil Rick.
Oh yeah, Braun Breaker.
Braun Breaker. But yeah, well, they're gonna change his name because they have Braun Strowman. So yeah.
Well, I think they wanted to do that on purpose.
I kind of wanted to watch this. Like I wanted to before, but then like, spoiler alert: Ciampa lost the title, and at this point, almost everyone's fairly certain him and Gargano are both definitely out of NXT, which is crazy because they were kind of like, they weren't there at the beginning, but they were really like the backbone of NXT for a couple years at least.
Yeah, I mean, this match really cemented that. Their rivalry had been going on a bit before this, but Ciampa was gone for almost a year between the knee, and he had some neck stuff, and a lot of stuff went on.
And well, it's cool. It's crazy. You almost never see like, so he turned heel right before he left. He attacked him at the end of that show, which, by the way, he wrestled that match with a torn ACL, a ladder match with a torn. That's insane. But
well, in a lot of ways, DIY was kind of like the more, I don't know, I don't want to call them like the revival of their day, but like the gimmick felt like that. Their work is totally different. Yeah, and by the revival, I mean FTR. You guys might not. I don't know if there's only people who only watch AEW.
Yeah, they're very cool. And then like the way, if just for background on them, I know we'll probably touch on it later, but they're kind of like, think of them as like Zayn and Owens. They kind of came up together, traveled the world together, and now they're in this
friends.
They're best friends, bitter enemies. There's a better enemies. I think aren't we reviewing that later this year? I think that's one of the pay-per-views.
I think that's the In Your House.
Good friends, better enemies. I think. Maybe. Who knows?
In Your House, friend or foe.
Let's not talk about sad pay-per-views we have to watch and talk about this good one instead.
But yeah, this one's available on the WWE Network Worldwide or Peacock here in the US under NXT TakeOver Season 5, Episode 2.
Big shout out to Shawn for giving me that, because I would have never found it otherwise. I would have given up.
There's 8 seasons now of NXT TakeOver. I love season 5 of NXT TakeOver.
That's
probably
my favorite season. Yeah. The ending to season 4 though, that was not very good.
Yeah. Well, you know.
So NXT TakeOver, packed house, that legit sellout for sure.
Oh yeah,
that was packed.
And I'm not sure the actual number right here.
13,955.
Okay, good, because Meltzer had a different number than that, of course, but his was also an estimate. I don't have actual ticket sales for this one.
Yeah, we don't have that. They said it was based just under 14,000, which feels about right for that place. It was pretty packed. It's not
basically
like
every seat they could jam into the Smoothie King Center was full that night. It was a big deal.
Yeah, it's not like Raw and SmackDown. Yeah, it's not like Raw and SmackDown where you don't see. Yeah, so but. New Orleans, Smoothie King Arena. I don't know if that was important or if it's who cares. It's an arena in there, and it's by WrestleMania because
it's right across the street or right across like the sidewalk from Superdome. So it's like right there. And it kind of opens up with a lackluster performance. From Kane Hill.
I don't remember this. Maybe I didn't see it in the acquired version I had. I didn't know who the fuck they were. I had to look that up. I went, what's happening?
They're band from New Orleans, so I guess that makes sense.
That, so I got that, and the song is like Shawn said, lackluster. It's okay, but
the recording is better than the performance. Like
which I mean,
this vocalist is not great live. I think is really the damaging part because the song's not terrible.
No, and it fit. I like how they kind of cut it in and out. It worked, but it wasn't great. Yeah. But again, like there's not a track record of good live bands at wrestling shows. Like,
no, I mean Motorhead was good.
If Motorhead can't sound like they sounded okay, it wasn't great.
Yeah.
If they can't sound good, like they only have 3 fucking instruments and Lemmy growl yelling. There's not a lot going on there. So when you have like more intricate shit, So that happened. It was a thing. I didn't know who they were.
I was also wondering to myself if if they do these live renditions, do they maintain the rights in a different way than just using the recording? Because we just watched the Royal Rumble 02 last week. If you want to check it out in the archives, we were wondering, because the theme song to that event was Kid Rock's Cocky, and they had to like scrub it from the network. So I wonder if they do like these live performances of the song, if they're like allowed to keep it longer or
like,
something.
I wonder if there's like something the band signs and maybe just gives them like a flat fee, and it's that they can keep it in the show indefinitely. Yeah, something like that.
And it might just be that this Cane Hill band is independent and they can kind of decide that.
Or it might also be like, because I heard that oh god, Living Color did the Punk Live one.
Yeah.
And I heard that they didn't ask like a lot, or they weren't difficult because they're fans of Punk. So sometimes you get like Lemmy. Obviously, Lemmy's not going to throw a fit when Triple H uses any of his music ever. But
I haven't watched any. I assume WWE's still paying the rights fees for Punk's music on old shit with Punk, right? Like if we go back and watch a Punk match, they're probably both AEW and WWE are paying for CM Punk to use in their footage. If I think about that, that's just interesting. I was just thinking
or WWE scrubbed it and we have some ridiculous Benny Hill
and I want to find
for
out if we have just some random
generic basketball highlights number 4.
Yeah, it always sounds like the music in the background of like an auto parts or a hardware commercial.
Yeah.
But so we kick it off with the ladder match, and EC3
starting off this match pretty fucking hot. Big match.
EC3 was his in-ring debut in NXT, and he was awesome in TNA, but it really didn't work here in NXT. It's a bummer. But he was doing really cool shit now in a Ring of Honor.
I will say his NXT run was still better than his main run, because that was a joke. But that's going to be a recurring theme throughout this show. But yeah, EC3. So we got 6-man ladder match for the new title, brand new.
The North American title. It's a brand new thing, and Triple H is super proud of this one.
I mean, he's super proud. I can only imagine he's in a deep depression right now. There's
beginning of something much bigger.
Yeah, right now he is deeply depressed. I know it. He's at home drinking, going through freaking PBR. Calling up Scott Nash. Do you guys want to start wrestling?
Well, EC3 was recently doing some stuff in Ring of Honor that was really cool, and I was wondering, because they just opened up the Forbidden Door for Mickie James to come in. I wonder who some of the surprise entrants can be in the men's Rumble.
I want to say about that, I don't know, because they literally gave her stuff in a fucking black trash bag when she left. So like they must have paid her a fucking good amount.
Yeah, apparently there was some apology made too. I haven't really read the full story yet, but yeah.
I mean, I know the guy got fired, but like I don't know. So like, whatever. Mickey's cool. I've never been I liked her early run most, but she's fine.
Yeah. So they try to put EC3 really strongly over as a heel because like the audience is really into him, and Meltzer says that too. He says but he says the storyline on EC3 is that he comes from a family that owns a number of restaurants and other commercial properties. So he's doing the same rich kid character as in TNA, which that's not exactly true, because in TNA he was Dixie Carter's nephew, Ethan Carter III. Yeah. So the gimmick worked a little bit better just by having association.
Which is part of why I was kind of surprised they didn't force him to change his name. Like I know they never call him Ethan, they call him EC3, but like
but I'm just glad they didn't have him come back as Derek Bateman, because that was his name the first time around.
Fucking Christ. Sean, what do you think? Real quick, bonus. Who did the gimmick better, him or MJF?
MJF is doing it better now, but it's almost a tie for EC3's best work in TNA. If you really go back and see it.
Didn't he make Jeff wear a suit of him?
Yeah, he made Jeff wear a suit with his face all over it and carry a sign with his face. He had Jeff as his lackey. It was fantastic stuff at the time. It was probably the best thing on TNA until basically the broken Matt character happened.
Yeah, and then he obviously dominated that until.
Oh yeah. And then Adam Cole comes out. I like this music better than his current song.
You forgot Mr. Dane.
That's right. And I forgot about Killian Dane, and I heard Sanity's music, and at first I was like, is Eric Young in this? And then I saw Killian Dane, and I was like, oh, it's Killian Dane. Yeah. Like I totally forgot about him, and then I immediately remembered his name. But I forgot about him again just now.
Yeah, no, that's fine. He is in the match. Him and Lars Sullivan are both in there, and they kind of play, you always have to have a big dude or two in these matches for spots. So, but Adam Cole, baby, and fucking the crowd.
I see a dentist.
It's
not Isaac Yankem. I see Dr. Britt Baker in the front row with an Adam Cole shirt on.
Yep, and it's very interesting because the crowd, it's almost like they don't know what to like. They love it. It's hard to not like him. He's one of those guys. Like even like Michaels is a heel, still people like him, and he's got the catchphrase. And even if they hate him, they're still doing his fucking catchphrase.
Exactly.
So this show, I don't know. It's very interesting because he's pushed as a heel, but he's like a cool heel. He's like, DX was kind of with the Undisputed. It's like the cool heel.
Yeah,
group.
that and NWO sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I still like this whole presentation, not just the theme song, but like now his whole presentation feels super contrived with the Young Bucks. And I think he's cooler here in NXT than they've done with him yet in AEW. But the potential's there now that they've got everybody.
He's actually he's actually spoken on that, and he said, "Yeah, I just got here, chill," basically. But yeah, so he comes out. Guy I almost forgot existed because he's basically been scrubbed from pro wrestling. Velveteen Dream.
Yep. He ended up a sex pest. That's a bummer.
Yep. It was not a good look. And it sucked because he's only, I think they said he's 22 at this point.
Jeez.
So his whole, he had a lot, he could have been huge, but yeah, it didn't get, so we're going to not talk about that. We'll just talk about him tonight. At this point, he is a heel, but again, he's like the Gold Dust kind of heel where like they're a heel, but people like him because he's weird. They actually run down all of the bi-ish characters. They just go down the list. Yeah, Morrow has some moments in this show, by the way. I've got a couple good quotes from Mr. Ronaldo.
Oh, yes. And Lars Sullivan is next. And
Lars he's just big.
Well, he was an idiot on the internet, and I thought that's why he was released, but I guess not. He had some anxiety issues, so he asked for his own
I was going to say that.
release,
He had like a panic attack when he first got called, because Triple H really was behind Sullivan. Like he was a Triple H guy, but he got to Maine, had basically a panic attack from what I hear. They pulled him back. I think he came back once or twice. He went back to NXT, I think, and then some more, some stuff happened. Wasn't a good look. A recurring theme, sadly, here. And then Ricochet also has some internet videos we won't talk about.
Well, they said something at the age of 16, Ricochet was able to afford his own wrestling ring. Jesus fucking Christ.
Well, yeah, at 16 and at 14, he was wrestling in the backyard with his friends in a boxing ring. So
yeah, so how rich is this fucking kid?
Yeah, because when I was 14,
he's older
I had
than me.
I had a trampoline.
The only reason I know he's older than me is because his pants say established 1988, but they look like a fucking Budweiser. Why do his pants look like a Budweiser?
Yeah, I don't know. But Ricochet comes out, and I'll say here, possibly, it's hard to. We're going to have to make a list of top 5 wasted NXT talent on Maine, but he's definitely one of the top couple because he.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody in the business, probably except Cornette, because Cornette's Cornette, will love Ricochet. And he's probably the best, it's hard to say best, but he might be the best high flyer. Everything he does looks good. He doesn't botch stuff. Well, there's a couple in this match because it's weird. It's not botchy.
It's not his fault. It's just when you have this many guys, it's hard to get them all in the right place.
But no, throughout the show, he does a lot of crazy high flying shit that just looks good. So that sucks. He doesn't go great for him. And Ricochet probably gets the biggest pop of the group. I'd say he's the leading baby face of the match.
Yeah, I think this might also be his. I don't know if it's his in-ring debut, but they were like brand new here, pretty much.
And if you want to see one of the coolest spots ever, go to Google and type in Velveteen Dream Ricochet flip out of ring. Possibly the most badass thing you'll see. Ricochet just front flips over the top ropes, sticks the landing on the ramp, and just stares down Velveteen. Velveteen sells it beautifully. So
yeah,
that's a cool
There's
moment.
one thing here that, so this starts off with a huge pet peeve of mine. There's 6 guys, they're all standing in a circle, and the crowd starts chanting, "This is awesome." No,
okay, I'm glad I did it too. I said, I appreciate your enthusiasm, but what if what happens here is all 5 men lay down and Lars pins someone? Then it's not. You should wait until you know. Because there's a lot more places in the show.
Fucking crowd was there chanting "This is awesome" at the beginning of Hogan and Kevin Nash, right before the finger poke.
I still maintain I thought that was I liked that swerve. I don't think it really
I'm okay with it because the Wolfpack was fucking over and we were 9 or 8. And yeah, we were 8. I think that happened in early 1999. So
Yeah, the only thing I didn't like is my guy lost to Hogan, who was your guy, but hey.
well, I'm okay with Hogan taking the title for the reunification of the NWO here. But they immediately kicked Conan out, which kind of bummed me out.
Well, I don't like him. I've heard, if you're not gonna, if you're gonna
but
take
then we had to
money,
deal with. But then you have the filthy animals.
That's true.
Do you really need the filthy animals?
Do you really need a lot of what happened?
You need unmasking Rey Mysterio. Do we need the fucking?
Do we need to know that he's actually a perpetual 12-year-old? No.
Do we need Master P in WCW?
Yes. That's
we
Shawn.
do. The No Limit Soldiers.
Yeah, you can step back.
All right, so back to the match.
But they start out chanting, "This is awesome," and just let them do one thing. Just let them do one thing first, and then you can go. I don't care.
And then they do. They get pretty much Sullivan and Dane clean house, and then it's immediately trying to set up a tease for a Haas fight.
Yeah, and they do this. It's a recurring theme, and I do bring it up. They kind of are teasing like this is the big fight, and it's okay, but neither of them are the highlight of this show.
Because they have EC3 get in the middle of them, and he's like, "Yeah, you two fight," and all he had to do was stay down and not do anything.
And then they turn on him. So I will say, I'd say the most. I don't know, bumpiest man of this match you'd think would be a smaller guy. Nope, EC3 gets fucking wrecked this entire match.
Oh, definitely.
Destroyed over and over. And he looks great because he looks like he's just dead. And I love it.
Yep. Speaking of botches, one of the first things we get early on is when everything spills outside. It's not really a botch, like we said, but Ricochet does a shooting star press and basically clips the two big men with his knee.
Yeah,
and I was already
he over rotated a little bit.
Yeah, and I was already thinking to myself, though, does Ricochet himself weigh enough, period, to take down about 600 pounds of people? But then when his knee barely grazed them, I was like, oh, that they had to sell too hard for that.
I agree. So that wasn't great. But then again, he also did a fucking it wasn't like a climb up and then he just like hop flip. So
no, he just does it.
And then there's a really cool series right after that by Ricochet in the ring with Dream. Like these are the spots. Like I know Cornette saw this and he just started going. But it's
this
kind
whole
of flippy. It's flippy. It was really pretty though. Into a nip up, into a drop kick. Ricochet's fucking great. You can just say that he's really good.
Yeah, I mean it's a really good match in general. But yeah, I mean, you're definitely right about Cornette. Cornette wouldn't watch this thing just on the merit that there's like 5 or 6 ladders. There's a ladder for each guy. He wouldn't like that.
And we will talk about that a little bit later. There's a certain spot that kind of bugged me, and it's another one of my pet peeves about ladder matches. But through the beginning here, we're basically just getting the ring cleared. Everyone's kind of getting like a spot, like a one-on-one type spot. So EC3 gets a spot here. He's on top of Cole for a little while. Then Sullivan does a pretty impressive, like almost like half gorilla press slam into a vicious fucking power slam move. I don't know what it is, but just onto Cole.
So I didn't watch a lot of Sullivan matches, and going back and watching this, he's actually, I like his work quite a lot.
And
like
he moves well. Like that's, I hate when big men are just like slow and plodding. But he moves pretty well, and he takes some fucking bumps here, so props to him for that. So does Dane. I mean, Dane is a better big man than Sullivan. Yeah. Because Dane is like a big man, but Rey Mysterio is inhabiting his body or something. But yeah, so then Dane, right here, guy Dane's size doesn't do a suicide dive. I hate suicide dives. I think they're a very dumb move. The only one that did them well, in my opinion, was Benoit, because he kind of did like a side with the forearm shiver almost.
See, I'm okay with them, but the thing is, I'm getting tired of hearing Excalibur say Tope Suicida. At least when Mauro here says it, he follows it up with suicide dive.
Yes.
Like, just saying Tope Suicida, that's just fucking Spanish for suicide dive.
Yeah.
It means exactly the same thing.
Right here, I said Dane with the textbook suicide dive through the ropes. Mauro, of course, calls it something else. I can't be bothered to know what it is. Something for Spanish, suicide dive, probably. At least he's enthusiastic, though.
Yep.
And
Tope
that is Mauro.
Suicida.
Yeah, so, and then, cool spot where Dane. So, Dane's got a Dream in like a Simone drop position, and then Ricochet does like a crossbody, and Dane catches him while holding Dream, which was cool until Adam Cole hits his beautiful super kick and knock. They all go down.
I wrote down that I think Norman Smiley must have taught Dream how to scream.
Yes. It's sad watching this knowing what happened because Dream has so much potential, man.
Oh, yeah.
He's good in the ring. His elbow drop is fucking beautiful. He has a great spot in a little bit.
It's the Macho Man elbow drop.
It is.
With more height, but basically picture perfect.
Yeah, and like you have some guys like Punk. Even Punk is like, oh, my elbow drop sucks. I just don't care. It's like, at least he admits it, you know?
Yep.
But yeah, so crowd is firmly behind Ricochet still at this point. Then Lars cleans house. I will say there's a lot of very stiff looking chair or ladder spots, like I think Sullivan actually just beats them in the head with the ladder, like without warning sometimes.
Sullivan's actually out of the ring for like a minute, and I was thinking to myself, like, oh, he's kind of out for a bit long for my taste. And then all of a sudden he's in frame with the ladder, and I was like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, he climbs up and just fucking flings the ladder into everybody. And then he just starts cleaning house. He does that annoying, I don't love it, the Terry Funk ladder move.
Oh, yeah, swings it around his,
Which, it's goofy. I like when Funk did it. Everyone doesn't need to do it. But yeah, there's a lot of very stiff looking, and you can tell because like throughout the show, there's a couple points because it's an NXT crowd. They're, in the know. They get it. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of points where you hear them go, oh! Like shit that most, like, not for big moves. Like, there's a shot later to someone's ribs on the ladder, and the crowd's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, you can tell that they know what really hurts.
Yeah, so we have a really big spot here, and I usually hate them. This is, like, one of the few parts of the match I'm not a fan of, because I feel like so Ricochet does a sunset flip over the top of the ladder to Lars, who's on the other side of the ladder. The problem with this move a lot of the time is, when they get down there, the momentum rips him off of Lars, and he has to kind of suddenly go, oh, oops, haha. He does it quickly, but that's why I don't like those spots. I feel like if he was a rung down, maybe, but he was just one too high. Nonetheless, they go into it, so Ricochet's trying to powerbomb him off. I don't know, they got a couple of the guys up there. It was Dream and EC3 come over to help. Lars is holding on. Cole climbs up and decks him from the other side, and they do basically a triple power bomb off about midway point of the ladder onto Sullivan to take him out for a little while.
Yeah.
Which is cool. And then Cole has a great moment here. So all the guys just went down, and Cole's on the ladder after knocking him. And Cole's facial expressions, he's so good in the ring, man. He just looks, oh shit, I'm in, get the title, and starts to fucking climb up, but he can't, and because Dane yanks him off. But I love moments like that in matches where like a guy just suddenly realizes, oh shit. Oh.
Yeah. Dane like knocks the ladder. He knocks it away.
Yeah, it almost lands on Lars. That's one of those moments where the crowd goes, oh shit.
There was the headbutt too, which was an because that was
a very stiff looking headbutt. It was cool. Yeah. So just to bring that up, it was kind of weird. So Dane pulls Cole off the ladder. And then Cole just starts like yelling at him, like, "What are you doing?" Like,
and then he knocks it over. Like I called it it's the Kane is an idiot spot. Remember how they used to make Kane look like an idiot?
Yeah. Who's it? I know it's not relevant, but who was the guy that teamed with Regal and his gimmick was he was afraid of heights? You remember that?
It David Taylor?
It was
when they brought him back. Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, because Devon's admitted he's afraid of heights, but he sucks it up and deals with it. David Taylor,
R-Truth, of course. R-Truth is famously afraid of heights.
Yeah, which is Also, do you know he's almost 50 years old? He looks like he's fucking 28.
He needs one last world title run.
Let's see. Yeah, bring back little Jimmy. Let's go.
Bring him into AEW.
Yeah, but So Dane throws the chair, like the ladder over, and he doesn't look where it's going, and Lars moves his arm because that would have fucking hurt otherwise.
Yeah.
Because that was like a ladder full speed, like the very end of it, like missed his arm by like, I don't know, a half a foot. It was close. And the crowd definitely saw that and went, oh, okay. Whoo.
Yeah.
So right here we get, so I know we're going to be saying this a lot. Big spot alert. So Ricochet charges in at Dane. At this point, they've got a ladder like on the second turnbuckle, kind of like, I don't know, like caddy corner kind of. And he charges at Dane, who just does a back body drop. And Ricochet doesn't clear. He lands flat on the ladder, bounces once, and then falls. Those are, I think, the most brutal looking ladder spots. When guys hit, like when the ladder breaks, it's almost like, oh, maybe some of the impact. Nope, this one, the ladder just no sells him. He fucking. We're gonna see this a couple times in the show with dudes just bouncing off ladders.
Yeah,
but yeah, it looked really good. And then we have a little bit of a weird thing here. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, Morrow here is just like excellent. Like when they spill outside of the ring, like he doesn't know what he's saying, but he just starts talking. He's like, "They're building a bridge," and then they'll like go inside, and he's like, "Here he is, the Thanos. This is the Infinity War of NXT."
Yeah, no,
like,
and then it's good. It happened. Yeah, I mentioned that later. That's one of the ones I mentioned. But yeah, so Cole hits a weird like jumping kick thing. It was kind of not a good angle, and I think he was too low. Whatever. Everyone, they finally EC3 gets a move. He gets a big move. He does a face buster off the ladder onto Dane. So props to him. Him and Cole fight for a little bit. Then they team up for a little bit, and we have a pretty cool little spot here. They team up, take out Sullivan, do some stuff. Morrow, so where Shawn said Morrow goes a little crazy. Out here, they do this spot. I was not a fan of this spot. They set up like a bridge ladder on the thing and like Irish whip Dane into it. And the impact there is none. There's not impact. Nothing. No. Because the ladder just slides away. I feel like if they had thought that through, like maybe have someone like EC3 go on the other side to hold the ladder, or I don't know, something, or like put it against the turn, but the turn, somewhere, I don't know, wedge it. So it didn't look good. But Morrow there, and I think Morrow knew it didn't look good because his exact response was he may have suffered more than one rib injury with that.
Yes, that's exactly what he said. More than one rib injury.
He just kind of pauses like, might have multiple. It could have been many. I don't know.
So, Shades of Gorilla Monsoon.
Yeah, it didn't look good. In the ring, EC3 Cole still working together. They take out a couple dudes, and then you're not allowed to do this. You do not steal the Bebe gimmick. You just don't.
Oh no.
EC3 baby, and you fucking right when he does it, Cole's face is just like it's so good. I love moments like that, and just huge super kick. EC3's gone, and at that point, I think everything kind of picks pace up, and we kind of been a little bit slower here while they're dealing with the big guys, and for that little spot. But yeah, so Ricochet jumps off the top of Cole, who does so. We have like a super kick party here. Cole starts super kicking everyone, and he hits the Michael spot. You all know it, the Benjamin spot. So Ricochet jumps off the rope at it. It's cool though. While he's in midair, Cole does like the finger point gunshot and then hits it. It was swag as fuck. It was dope. I loved it. And yeah, it's weird because despite being the heel, the whole crowd pops for the Bebe always, because how can you not like him? He's the Shawn Michaels of the current era, I say.
Yeah.
And right here, I'm pretty sure if you guys go back and watch this, there's a moment here where I'm pretty sure there's a poster that says Adam Cole fears Sammy Guevara. I'm like, it's hard to see because like the name at the bottom is like cursive and it's blurry. I'm pretty sure. So we're going to say that that's canon and that's real.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but you know what? It'd be interesting.
Yeah, I spent probably minutes sitting there. Like, hold on, stop all this action. I know that name. But yeah, I can't say for sure. But yeah, we get Dream now gets his spot of the match. He just goes fucking purple Rainmaker elbow crazy here. It's a really good one. The first one, corner. The first one's pretty nuts. He goes 3/4 of the way across the ring cleanly with a pretty elbow. And then we get might this be the biggest? It might be the biggest spectacular moment of the match. We get the Jeff ladder.
Yep, the big ladder.
Yeah, and so he climbs to the top of the big ladder, and so everyone remembers the other big Jeff Hardy ladder spot where Jeff did the swanton off the ladder, where he kind of falls forward and does a flip, kind of. Right. So he did not do that. He was on top of the ladder, and then he jumped. off the top of the ladder to perform an elbow drop onto, I think it was Sullivan, right? Yeah, it was Sullivan.
Yes. And the unfortunate thing is that I don't know if he oversold. I think he was probably just actually in pain.
Yeah.
But he, compared to how Sullivan was selling, Dream oversold this elbow drop because it was entirely intentional. It wasn't like a move of desperation. He set up the ladder in the corner.
Yeah.
Sullivan was in the middle of the ring where you ought to set up a ladder.
Yeah.
You know, if you were going for the win.
But yeah, this was one of the, in a match full of high spots, maybe the like biggest like picture moment. Just, you know, when the dude's on top of a giant ladder and does a beautiful, like he could have done like a lot of wrestlers on, you know, on high spots like that. They do their move, but it's like a watered down, like the Jeff Hardy Swanton. That wasn't a swan. It was more of like a rolling fucking forward, but you're on a fucking ladder, so it's scary. So props to him for doing a, you know, a very good elbow off that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And yeah,
they're never going to show it in any video packages now because
unfortunately. So yeah, you'll have to go back and watch it. Trust me, this whole show's worth watching. Almost, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
There's one, but yeah. So yeah, what do we have here? Oh right, we get another brutal spot. EC3 powerbomb Dream off the ladder onto another ladder. So the Ricochet spot, but with a fucking powerbomb instead of like, you know, he gets to take his own bomb. It looked stiff. There's a couple spots here that it looks stiff, and that looks stiff. And again, I don't know if Dream's just really good at selling or he's actually dying. Maybe both. It could be both, because Dream's probably the best seller of this match, I'd say. He goes above and beyond.
Yep.
And
I noticed the refs were wearing gloves before I noticed that Dane was busted open at all, which was interesting.
Yeah, I didn't even catch that. Yeah, they mentioned it, and I was like, oh yeah, he is a little bit. It's not like, you know, gushing, but there's something.
No, it's definitely not on purpose. There's no nobody.
Yeah, there's no intentional blood this show.
No, in the entire show.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, interesting they were doing that before. Maybe they just anticipated, yeah, someone's probably going to fucking knock their nose. We're going to have a Mercury incident or something, you know. But yeah, so EC3 gets another little spot. He gets some offense in. I think it was the TKO he hit off the ladder onto Cole. I don't know if that's actually what he calls it. That's what they called it. I don't know a lot about him other than he's awesome. Yeah, Dane gets his spot now. Hits a running senton. So he hits a running senton onto the ladder on top of EC3. And that looks very unpleasant, A.
Oh, yes.
Killian Dane is not a small man.
No.
He's like a hairy Vader, basically.
Yes. Speaking of which.
Speaking of which, we're going in. So we get the next spot. So while he's down, Dane goes to the top, and he goes for what clearly is intended to be a Vader bomb.
A double Vader bomb, because he's got two guys.
Yeah, so yeah, there's two guys there. It was, I don't remember who it was, but
EC3
was
Cole.
under, and then Cole, so he goes up to do it to EC3, and then again that thing of why would you do this now? Why wouldn't you let the move happen and then capitalize? Cole leaps off of the ladder like onto his back and puts him in almost a sleeper attempt while he's up in the Vader bomb position, and Dane just does the fucking Vader bomb, and it looks really fucking good. That was a very cool looking spot. Except for EC3, who probably did legit die a little bit. I think Cole had the easiest time. He just bounced off a large man. That was fine, but yeah, it did. Yeah, I said right here. I say EC3 may actually be dead. Lol.
Yeah, and it's his first match, and they're killing him.
Yeah, and so then we get another one. We get another tease for the Haas fight. That's all. We don't care. Just give us. But no, Ricochet has to fuck that up. And it's a cool little spot here. And also, again, it's cool to see fans when they like heels and faces, you know, but they still pop for just moves. Because right here, the two big dudes who are, you know, kind of, they're not faces. Lars is a heel. I think Dane's kind of a tweener-ish kind of. I think Sanity was kind of in between.
Weird. You know, they're just weird.
Yeah, but so they toss Ricochet across the ring twice, and the crowd, so he tosses him over, and then I think it was Lars is over there, and the crowd chants toss him back. Like, wait, so you're saying you want the heel to throw the I mean, I agree, because that's what I was saying. I was like, are they gonna just toss him back and forth? I love when the wrestlers do that, like when they're like, you know, competitors in a tag match or something, and they're like, no, I can do that better than you. I like spots like that, so that was cool. And Ricochet sold. He actually flew across the entire length of the ring. He made it look really good.
Yeah.
Sullivan catches Dane with a running crossbody and slams him, which was pretty impressive, actually, because Dane's fucking big. It wasn't the classic catch power slam, but close. It's like the modern version almost.
Yeah, because I think it's he's
like a world. He does
Dane
like a
is
world...
going for his finishing move there. It's called the Divide, I think, and
I think so.
Sullivan just
catches him, and then he does like the world's strongest
time anybody's
that's what they said.
That.
Yeah, so it's basically a world's strongest slam spot off a crossbody for all intents and purposes. It's a finisher for him because he's a big old fatty. But
when you're Lars big, looks good.
Yeah, he looks really good. Yeah.
Well, he bounces off the ropes and looks over his shoulder. Like, that's one small detail that I'm like, it looks like he wants to know where he's going.
Yeah, because he wants to make sure he's in position. Yeah, so he can catch. And I'll give him that, because a lot of times when they do spots like this, they don't, and it looks like shit.
Exactly.
And then in most wrestling, they'll then do the spot a fucking again instead of just move on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Ricochet. Here's another. I think maybe he shouldn't do the shooting star press, because he does another one here. Well, hold on, did I? Oh
no, you missed the. So this is actually one of my favorite spots. Ricochet comes in for an attempt to get the title, and Lars goes to push the ladder over while Ricochet is on it.
Cool spot.
This might be one of my favorite. This is definitely my favorite multi-man ladder match spot. Yes. But this might be one of my favorite ladder match spots, period. Yeah, I don't know if I can say if that includes TLC matches. We're not going to be watching all of them probably anytime soon, but we're definitely going to be watching one of them at X7 at 17 during March Mania upcoming.
Hey, check that out.
But it's hard for me to say it's my absolute favorite, but it looked awesome.
Yeah, so basically what happens, Ricochet's climbing to get the title. I think it was Dane, or was it Lars? Somebody.
It was Lars who pushed it.
Yeah, so Lars goes in and he lifts one side of the ladder basically to dump him off.
Right.
And Ricochet hits a moonsault off of the falling ladder onto, I think it was EC3.
Dane and Cole. I think it was Dane and Cole.
Okay. Yeah, and it's crazy. I marked for that. That was awesome. I don't know how I skipped through it other than all my text is white and there's a lot of it, but
well, the camera wasn't on Dane and Cole, which also made it cooler because it was kind of a surprise to see it coming. So
we get our first holy shit chance of the night. That will be a recurring theme. Also, some other better chants that Vince, I guarantee, fucking did not like.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, that was a really cool spot. I said I agree that was a cool spot with the crowd. So there you go. This is awesome. Good. But then Ricochet hits another shooting star press onto EC3. And it's not good. So EC3 is on top of the ladder, and Ricochet hits the shooting star press. And I don't think it's his fault. I think it's because he's on the ladder, so he's raised up a little bit. Mm-hmm. But Ricochet basically comes down almost like Angle did with the moonsault onto Bob Holly, which broke his arm. Basically, all of his momentum just leg first onto onto EC3. And it looked very stiff and very unpleasant. And again, EC3 is dying.
The shooting star press is considered to be a pretty dangerous move, and I don't think anybody's actually allowed to do it other than Ricochet here. Kidman was the last one allowed to use it. Yeah, and that was it, because Lesnar fucked himself up at 19, and I think that's at the point when they were like, no more shooting star presses.
Yeah, because ban moves just because some people can do. I'm sorry, Billy Gunn hurt, or Billy Gunn. God, can you imagine Billy Gunn doing a shooting star press? Jesus,
Billy Ass and the Ass Boys.
Oh boy. But we see a couple other moves later teased, like pile drivers that we know are definitely banned by Vince at this point. Because did you hear that story? Vince banned the AJ Styles, the Styles Clash, and Jericho only got it on TV because he just didn't call it the Styles Clash, just called it AJ's finish.
Oh, really?
And then Vince saw it happen, and Vince went, "Oh, that's not dangerous, unless you forget to put your fucking head back." To be fair, that is counterintuitive. In wrestling, you're taught always. Tuck your chin. Yeah. In that move, you tuck your chin, and you are now draws. So don't do that.
Oh,
sorry. Draws will admit, don't do that. You don't want to be like that. Cool spot though when AJ basically saved what's his jobber face's life that one time. What's his name? The dude that was in. He had a run with AJ. He was a jobber, undercard, very small dude.
Oh, James Ellsworth, right?
Ellsworth, yeah. Ellsworth didn't tuck, and AJ actually noticed and didn't finish the move. He like planted on all fours, so he didn't, drop him on his head. So that was nice of him.
Yeah.
Scary spot.
There was a really cool spot that also looks kind of scary here with a rolling Death Valley driver on top of the ladder bridge.
Oh, before we get to that, one of my few marks of annoyance in the show. So the ladder matches are always a little iffy. TLC, anything with the ladder, when they spend a lot of time doing fucking stupid setups, it gets really bad for a while in WWE. Like the early ones were iffy. They're okay. Like, I don't know. This one,
especially now that they have a TLC pay-per-view, they get really obnoxious with it.
Yeah, and so like I prefer wrestling to have some semblance of like at least it's realistic. Like, so what they tried to, I think it was Dream and Ricochet are trying to set up like a ladder spot where they make a bridge. So like from the second turnbuckle to another ladder, like in the gap, they make a little bridge with a ladder.
Right.
And they kind of do it all the way they try and do it. So basically, I think it was Ricochet like goes to hit him with, or no, Dream goes to hit him with the ladder like to the ribs, and Ricochet basically blocks it with the ladder, and it goes into the gap. And Ricochet opens the ladder to set it up, but it falls out. Yes. And so what I want to say before we get to the crazy spot that happens right here is, they do a good job of, instead of just stopping and setting it up anyway, they kind of fight a little bit more, and then he sets it up correctly, which moves into the next. I just don't like it when they set something up and then they don't use it because it's for another team or another guy they have to set up for later. Like, right. I just think it should be thought through a little bit more. And this one they didn't do a lot. Like, they do use ladders that are set up bridged outside that to be fair, I forgot they were there. So good. Yep. It was good on that. And so do you want to describe this absurd fucking spot that we see here that looks horrifying?
Well, I mean, it's hard to describe. It's just
So they're on the ladder bridge, Ricochet and Velveteen Dream. Velveteen Dream gets him up in a Death Valley driver position, and
barely.
Flipping through they almost. Rung. Yeah, he has Ricochet on his shoulders on this precarious fucking ladder. You can see the ladder like twitching and boinging because, when you're holding another guy on your shoulders on a smart, that's a lot of weight. Fucking yeah. But he hits a crazy rolling Death Valley fucking driver on top of a ladder bridge.
Yep.
It looks insane and viciously painful. And every time I see spots like that, I'm like, I'm so glad he didn't get his head stuck in that when he was falling. Because that seems like a broken neck waiting to happen.
For some reason, the crowd starts chanting NXT here instead of holy shit. And I feel like this is the most holy shit moment in anything of the night, really.
That was very crazy. They do a couple more big spots coming up, but I think that is like
the next big spot is just a couple minutes later when Sullivan drives EC3 and Dream through another ladder bridge. And it's like a Dream's laying down, and then he drives EC3 on top of Dream through it. But the ladder actually snaps in half here.
Yeah, Dream got the worst of that. Now I'm curious. I think those are gimmicked ladders out there.
I would hope so, and I would hope that's maybe why they set them up early, so they know not to use them for the finish.
I remember when that, I think the first someone goes through a ladder spot was Edge and was it Matt? I think it was Edge and Matt.
There was a spear, right?
Or
was it a spear with Edge?
I thought Edge was on the ladder and then Jeff did his leg drop onto him, or I don't know. But they went through it, and I'm pretty sure that was not a gimmick ladder, and I don't think they expected to go through it. But so fun fact: peel back the curtains. Most ladders that get broken in half are wood, and you can tell when they break because they splinter. Mm-hmm. Which does happen here. So they're gimmick, but so they go through. It still looks like very unpleasant, especially for Dream. That he's just under. He's fucking crushed under a large man. They both sell it really good. They don't even roll off each other. They just lay on each other dead.
Here's a Morrowism where he just says Lars knows words longer than most of his matches. Yeah, I don't know what he meant by that. I know that
I know Lars's gimmick was supposed to be like he's a brute, but he's really smart. I don't know if you saw he released, I think it was on Twitter after he left, like some sketches that they wanted him to do where he's like wearing a fucking bowler hat and suspenders
Oh
and shit.
God, no.
Yeah, but that was his gimmick. He's smart, but he's also
Okay,
the brute. I don't
I
know.
guess that makes it because
Yeah,
I
so
just that's dumb. That's a
yeah,
bad
and
way
right
to put
here
it.
is where so Shawn did it earlier, but right here I go no, wait. So we get hold on before that. We get another spot. It's a repeat of the spot we just saw from the other big dude, but
Yeah,
I think
and by this time I'm like,
less good.
okay, we get it. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
well, so
third
it's
one
less
got
good.
old.
It's less good, although I feel better for Cole because Cole basically doesn't take a bump on this. He kind of Killian takes most of the brunt, and then Ricochet dies. He just gets sat on by a giant man, just aggressively.
Yeah.
He dies. And then we get so at this point, yeah, Morrow now goes on about the Infinity Wars, and it's not like a quick mention. It's like 2-3 sentences of building up the fucking universe. Like what, Morrow? It's wrestling, Morrow, Morrow. Come on.
Yes, he starts talking about Marvel.
Yeah,
Like, stop.
Yeah, I don't know what the reference was. It's just so we get everyone's dead for a little while. So Dane and Lars did the move, so I'm glad that they kind of were the first two in, and we get the classic ladder spot where they set up three however many people there are, ladders next to each other, two people on each ladder doing some fightings and such.
Yeah, and
And
so they all start climbing, and I actually laughed because Morrow says very like enthusiastically, Adam Cole needs to climb a couple of more rungs. Not the tallest man.
you're like, thank you so much for that. That is what I look for in my color commentary. And right here's where we get.
He's the play-by-play guy.
Yeah,
Jeez.
well, he just does. So right here, so Dream sets up a third ladder. Like when set third, this is where we take a very, very unpleasant. So Dane, gets hit in the ribs with the end of the ladder, and Dane wasn't. I don't think he was looking at it and ready for it because he actually got slammed full force in the ribs by a fucking ladder, and you can see after he gets hit, it was full force with a fuking ladder because he almost falls off the ladder as he grabs his fucking ribs.
Yeah, no, it's not.
And so then we go through. What we always see in these matches toward the end is it's as Corny would say, it's a spot fest. Everyone's on the ladders. Everyone's slowly taking guys off the ladder one at a time. Sullivan actually has his is cool. So he takes Dane off. It's like, I don't know what the move's called. It's like a rock bottom, but instead of grabbing like the shoulders, you grab like lower, like under the rib cage. Same maneuver, just modified.
And Dane gets some serious air and is flailing his legs.
It looks like a lot of times when big dudes lift up, like it. So it's hard to explain. Like, you know how it's more impressive when you can tell a wrestler's sandbagging someone and yet the other guy still gets him over or gets him up? It almost felt like this was like a planned sandbag almost. Because Dane looks like he's like not helping and it's all Lars. It looks really good. It's a really good looking spot though, for sure.
He's a strong motherfucker.
Yeah, and then Sullivan's actually bleeding pretty aggressively from his ear. Yeah. There's a cool Cole comes off. So there's a Russian leg sweep from Cole onto EC3 off the ladder, take him out. Ricochet with a awesome neck breaker onto Dream off the ladder. So Dane and Sullivan are the last two up there again. Sullivan hits that move. Sullivan's bleeding, but since he hit the move, he starts climbing, and then Ricochet out of fucking nowhere jumps off of the top rope onto Sullivan to take him out. Pretty ugly spot there. Didn't look like they fell well.
No.
But so at that point, Cole's the only one there.
When they do that, his bump out of the ring, you can't see it from the camera angle. It shows like that's the wide hard cam, right? So you don't really see what happens on the floor. And they don't show you a replay of him do that from another angle.
No.
That I see. So but now you get Cole alone in the ring.
So Cole's alone in the ring. He climbs, and Cole gets the belt, and the crowd fucking loved this match, as did I. And if you didn't, you're a fucking crazy person.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'll just go ahead and say it right now. I gave this 10 out of 10.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's fair enough.
The parts that drug it down were not significant enough for me to say I have to knock any point. It was so good throughout, which is crazy. Usually, I don't like I like TLC. I like them, but I always feel like too many guys. Like you remember the year they like added 2 more dudes to the TLC matches. Like this is
oh yeah,
there's not enough time. There's too much going on. Like there's a reason the Michaels Razor ladder matches are so good and still stand up because.
There was a point when the shift in WWE matches became what we can get for the camera versus what's entertaining for the crowd in the arena.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
But Meltzer said this was the best multiple person ladder match I've ever seen. I won't go so far as to say it was the best ladder match, period. There were there were risky spots for sure, and it was very physical, but previous ladder matches that had more dangerous stunts. But this topped it with the athletic big men in Sullivan and Dane, the ridiculous athleticism of Ricochet, and Cole came across as a real superstar personality-wise with this crowd. 5 stars. So
yep. So it's not the first time me and him are in complete agreements. We've been close a couple times on some stuff, but
yeah, I mean, since he does 5 stars.
That's exactly what I said. Yeah, I said everyone got their spots. Everyone got to look like a star. Cole with the win was great, and this is going to kick off a monster run for Cole in NXT for the next year plus easily. A lot of good spots. Can't say enough. I might agree with him I don't know if I'm excluding TLC matches. I don't know if there's anything else I could even think of that would compete with this. TLC I'd have to kind of think about that. But yeah, it's either a great or terrible match with a bunch of dudes in the ladder match, and this one pulled it off well.
Yep. And we go from the match into a commercial for Mania 34 with Lesnar and Reigns 4 years ago.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, I will say this about them. I fucking love the current Lesnar run and the Reigns run. I think they're finally doing it right. Like, let Reigns be a fucking heel. It's good. Let Brock be a fucking goof. I fucking love Lumberjack. It's so good.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a bummer it's slowing down because Roman has COVID, but we also get Lesnar Lashley at the Rumble, which is kind of a dream match too.
Yeah,
so.
It'll be good. But yeah, so then we come back after that and we get Almas. Remember him? Guys who got, like fantastic reviews for all their matches. Like he might have had the longest run of like 4+ star Meltzer rating matches like for a while because through this year he had 5-star matches with Gargano at least once, I think twice. I think he had one with Balor. I don't know. He had like 3 or 4 5-star matches from Meltzer through this year.
Yeah, they're not using him amazingly in AEW, but I like him in AEW. It's hard to explain.
Fine. I like him. And so at this point he's kind of like the big guy in NXT. Although Vega, his manager, who actually is married to his opponent tonight, she is a big part. I think she was one of the better managers of this era too. She actually does shit.
Well, yeah, that's part of his problem in AEW is his manager doesn't talk for him.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Jose, the assistant, and when he did have a manager who talked for him, it was Chavo Guerrero, and he talked too much. So
yeah, because Chavo's really good, but he doesn't need to talk much. Don't need a lot of him. Like he's not Eddie. Don't let him talk.
Exactly.
So we're going into the next match, which, hey, crazy, 2 more wrestlers who got pretty much shafted on main.
Well, Baszler's still there, and Ember's released, so
Ember's gone. But Baszler, the way they pushed her in NXT, she immediately went to main, and you're going to lose to Charlotte, and that's what you do. That's main.
No, yeah, they pushed her as the Ronda Rousey they could beat.
Yeah. And so if you guys didn't know, she is really good friends with Rousey, who's on Mania tomorrow. So Rousey's in the crowd here for this, so it's cool. There's a lot of people in the crowd for this show that I know. It's
Rousey's debut on Mania the next night.
Because last Mania we got the tease, right? Where
I think it was 2 Manias prior with The Rock.
Yeah, where she was wearing the Vegeta shirt, and then every nerd fell in love with her. Immediately went, "Oh my god, Vegeta!"
Right.
Yeah, but so this is her debut tomorrow, and then she goes on to have her run that, I don't know, it's okay. I don't think her run was bad, but I don't think it was as good as it could have been either.
Yeah, they could have done it better, but apparently she doesn't respect the business very much either, so
so we have another live performance, and I'm going to be completely honest, and probably going to upset people. I had to look up who this band was. Apparently,
this is technically just Lizzie Hale, playing with
Okay.
the fucking band from earlier. But yeah, it's not actually
Okay.
Hailstorm.
Okay, but
But
I didn't know who she was. I was just like, "Hey, it's a girl." That's not. I know that's not Nita. I know she's not.
right.
That's not her. And then, they said it. I was like, "Oh, should I have known that?" I don't. I don't listen to a ton of Hailstorm, so I don't think
Yeah.
should have had to know that.
Well, and then the hype package for this, just a nitpick. Like I don't like how much they have Ember Moon talking and being like a real person, because then she's supposed to be like a werewolf. Like
Yeah,
I
like
don't
I
want to
thought.
fucking
Yeah, her gimmick is like she's super weird and strange, and then she just talks normal. Like, be weird, do weird
yeah.
things. And
Yeah.
then Baszler's fine, but she also
I don't think
her
she's the best
she's
talker, and I'll
no.
get to that later, especially at the conclusion of this
Yo,
match.
yeah. So we get the NXT Women's Championship match. This is Ember Moon as the champion defending against Shayna Baszler.
Baszler.
That's it.
Baszler. Shayna
Baszler.
Baseball.
At this point, I say I'm calling her Shayna because I cannot spell her last name, and autocorrect is not helping me.
Shayna Baseball.
Yeah, and we start off fairly hot though with a pretty fucking stiff punch on the Moon there. It looks like she just flat out punched her in the side of the face. So
Yeah.
and I like that because I like the more fight feel matches. And Baszler is an MMA fighter I think she was fairly successful in her MMA career as well. So
Yeah.
it's kind of what you're expecting throughout the match. It does get a little weird.
I mean,
though.
Moon spills immediately to the outside, and then she does like this jumping high kick. It's kind of like the one Sonya Deville does, but
Yeah.
fucking Nigel McGuinness calls it a drop kick, and I'm like, no, it was more like
Yeah.
it was an enziguri if she hit her in the back of the head, right? But she hit her in the side of the head or the front of the head, so it's just a jumping high kick. So
and then so Shayna's using a lot of knees as expected, knee strikes, and so the story of this match at this point is basically Shayna's trying to get submissions locked in, whereas Ember's trying to not have that happen. How it's weird though, because like the story's weird because basically not only is Shayna trying to lock in submissions, but she's also the one doing all the striking too. So it's really just like Ember Moon's trying not to be killed at this point.
Yeah, it's not. I don't really like the psychology of this match at all, because at one point Baszler does her dislocation spot and then
We'll
decides
talk about
not
that
to.
in a second here. Yeah. But can I give a Morrowism right here? I got one.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a cool little spot where Shayna's being pinned and then like basically fucking teleports over Moon to put her in like a chokehold or something. It was really fast and cool, but Morrow, and I quote, "That Baszler grip is like a pistachio nut. It's so hard to get into." What? That's first off, and second off, what? Sometimes he says things and you have to stop and go, wait, hold on.
What did he say?
The Baszler grip is like a pistachio nut. It's so hard to get into. First off, no, it'd be hard to get out of, which is not relevant to a nut. That's not it. Just I think he's trying to say. I don't fucking know, Shawn. I don't know what he's trying to say. It's not. I heard it. I replayed it twice to make sure I heard it and went, okay. Fisherman suplex, though. Shout out to Taz and Hook. Gotta love fisherman suplexes. Suplexes are good. More suplexes, but not Germans.
Yes. No.
Don't need more Germans.
No. That's Brock.
So here, Germans. Yeah. So I think here there's a weird, and this is kind of where we get into the odd part, and I call some things out here. So I guess Shayna has a thing where she like dislocates people's shoulders by like stomping their elbow.
Yeah.
And so she tries to do it to Moon. Moon dodges, and then Moon does it back to Shayna. Now, when I saw this, I think that would be more of like, I guess I could see how that could fuck the shoulder up. But you think that'd be more of like an elbow wrist damage. But so at this point, the story of the match is Shayna Baszler's her
shoulder's dislocated.
Yeah, her shoulder's dislocated.
But it doesn't make sense because Ember's the face.
Yeah.
And she just did some heel shit. And the story of this match is everybody kind of knows as an NXT tradition is when somebody's going up to main roster, they're going to drop the belt to whoever they're against. So this is like right before Ember goes up to main roster. Yeah. And she's dropping the belt. And this is like such a weird thing to do for somebody who's about to be on Raw tomorrow or whatever. It's
almost like, it's like they don't do it a lot, but it almost feels like she's getting buried here. Because like Baszler's the heel and Baszler's the one that comes back from this quote unquote horrific injury and battles through.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's weird though. I want to say I've learned, I know a bit about dislocations, and I've never heard of somebody, if they dislocated their shoulder, just aggressively slamming it into things.
No,
Like,
like you can like turn it
yeah, I've heard
back.
you can put it back, put it up. I've heard if you grab it with your feet and yank on it from a seated position, that can pop it. But yeah, no, Baszler just like rams her shoulder into the ring post, and they sell it like, oh, she's a fighter. She knows. I'm going to say this. I don't think in her MMA career she ever had a dislocated shoulder and had to ram a ring post to put it back in mid-fight. I'm just going to say
Yeah.
that. I don't.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, that's kind of the point of the design of the octagon, right? Is to
Yeah,
not be able to use the cage as a weapon or something of the variety. Like,
yeah,
you can
unless you're
use
a
it as a
badass who does a
wall.
fucking flippy kick off it and something. But
Yeah.
but yeah, so we get a double down here. Shayna's basically selling that her arm's fucked. Double down. They roll in at 9. Some other shit. So like at this point, we're at the finish essentially, and it's kind of a long-winded finish.
Was that 9? The crowd is chanting 10 so hard it's hard to keep track.
Right? Oh god. So yeah, so they roll in. Shayna puts in her move. I don't know what it's called. I don't know what Shayna's finisher is. It's just a choky looking thing.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called either, but
yeah, but so she locks it in, and then
it's the Kirifuda clutch, I believe is what it's called.
Yeah, I heard them say it, and I went, I am not going to try and spell that. I'm just going to hope Shawn figures it out. It's a choke out hold move type sleeper. Yeah. So she locks it in, but she can't lock it in because her arm is dislocated. And so to effectively lock it in, she grabs her own hair, which I feel like wouldn't be enough strength to hold back someone who's struggling viciously to escape.
Yeah, no.
I've seen that, and I'm pretty sure hair just yanks out.
Yeah.
I don't want to, I'm pretty sure. So that's what happens. And you'd think if her arm's dislocated, while this other person's yanking and twisting it this whole fucking time, I can suspend disbelief, but
right.
I don't know about that one. And so it's weird though, because this is the finish. Ember Moon, the face, just passes the fuck out.
Yep. After her finisher that's never been countered gets countered for the first time into Shayna's finisher and then passes out. So this is such a weird thing to do before you're going to main roster.
Yeah, like if the whole point of this is to bury Ember and push Baszler as, I think that's what they were going for, is that they knew they were going to have Baszler be the Rousey of NXT for the next year and a half. So I feel like they did that on purpose to make her look tougher, but it made Ember look bad. And then Ember didn't look good on main ever either. It's sad because she was a cool character.
Right.
But yeah,
she had a good look, and she had decent work, but like,
yeah, her work was fine. Like it's better than, well, I don't know. What's the chick that hits people with her hair? I still don't like her.
Oh, Bianca Belair.
Yeah, that one. I don't know. But yeah, I gave this a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, I mean, let me check.
Also, winner
before
and new
I check
NXT
Meltzer's
champion.
notes. Yeah, winner and new NXT Women's Champion, Shayna Baszler. But I don't want to check Meltzer's notes yet because I want to remember what I wrote down here. Is what Baszler said. I told you, I'm the best wrestler in forever. And I was like, somebody really needs to be her manager, because she has a badass look, but she's not a good talker.
No, she has a good look. She actually can work well. She works in the ring. She knows how to do it. She sells well. Like, that's the thing with some MMA people, is they don't sell. Like, they're just not used to it. But
Dave put this one over decently. He said, even if these two had the best women's match in NXT history, they'd never be able to follow the prior match. To their credit, no, of course not. But they did a very good story match that was better than their previous encounter.
I didn't see it. Yeah, I'm just going off just seeing this match. I thought it was a match. It wasn't bad, but I wouldn't say it's good. So I gave it dead in the middle.
He gave it 3 1/4.
Okay.
Even if Moon wasn't leaving, it was time to get the women's title on Baszler, even though, or it says, although except for Kairi Sane, the women's roster is lacking in championship caliber talent at this point, which is true, I guess.
Yeah, and so I actually had originally given this a 6, and then like after I thought about it, I actually bumped it down to a 5, just because it sucks to say, but like if this match wasn't, I don't even know. Like, if this wasn't on this show, even then, I still think I would have been about a 5. Maybe I would have gone a 6. Like, if this was if this was on the '97 Rumble, maybe it would have been a 6.
Right.
But yeah, on this show it's not, which is, it's again part of it. It's hard to be completely objective match to match. You kind of look at the show as a whole and go, well, that match was, okay, but compared to this, it's eh. But yeah, so it was not. I kind of said the same thing. Couldn't live up to the insanity of the opener, but this was really more of like a palate cleanse, and it's the only one we're gonna really get. Like, this is the only match that doesn't have a lot going on. So it was a bit slow. I get it. I agree with you. I didn't understand the story. Like, if they were doing a double turn or something, sure. But they weren't, and they don't, because Baszler was a heel her whole run. So yeah,
it was just weird. So we cut away to Paige introducing a trailer / commercial for Fighting with My Family, which is her movie.
Never saw it.
Still never watched it, and I have no plans to.
Nope. I did think The Rock was funny, as he always is with this thing, and then he just cuts a promo and then goes, "Yeah, just do that." So that's cool. But yeah, Paige, I used to love her, but she's a bit fucking crazy.
Yeah, well, we get some backstage video with Adam Cole selling injury from the ladder match.
Yeah, can we not have the match? It's basically, can we just not do it?
Yeah, Kyle O'Reilly asks if they can cancel it. And then we get a graphic which shows Bobby Fish still as the champion, of course, because
technically he is. Adam Cole's technically filling in for him at this point.
Freebird rules. But it's what happened is, some background on the entire Dusty Classic. Originally, Roddy Strong and Pete Dunne weren't even supposed to be in this thing, and they were put together for this thing. So originally that was going to be Tyler Bate and Trent Seven, and then Tyler Bate had a knee injury, so they were replaced by Dunne and Strong. And then the whole tournament happened, and in the finals, because Undisputed Era wasn't in the tournament because of Bobby Fish and the knee injury, they were going to decide new champions. So they were like, no, fuck that. And they caused a double DQ.
Yeah. Yep.
And that basically is what led to William Regal deciding that this is now the finals match tonight. And it's a 3-way.
Which is kind of funny. So realistically, the Undisputed Era didn't compete in the tournament at all, but still got to win the tournament.
Yes.
Spoiler alert. It's an old show, but yeah. So
and to be fair, spoiler alert is how I now look at this match in retrospect is a bit different.
Yeah, because the ending of this match is super hot and is one of the biggest moments realistically in NXT history, I'd say. Like,
but it creates a logic hole that wrestling always has when they do something like this. So
and we'll talk about that when we get there.
Yeah,
So we have a triple threat tag team match for the NXT titles and the big Dusty Rhodes Trophy Cup.
Yeah. So Tony, which trophy do you prefer? The Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal Trophy, or the Sterling Silver Prince Albert Memorial Battle Royal Samovar Trophy?
I'm gonna have to go with. Can I just have a belt?
No, you have to pick a trophy.
No,
one has a teacup, one has boots, one has Andre.
Yeah, but one was broken in half, I remember, and one fell apart when he tried to leave the ring with it. So I guess I'd go with Dusty. At least the Dusty one has some cool boots with it. I guess I'll go with that.
Yeah, it's got boots. Okay, you're going with Dusty. Boots.
I'll go with Dusty, yeah, because the Andre one's cool, but like I now know that it's not actually like solid gold because it was smashed in its hollow, so I don't want that. That's shit.
No.
And the Sterling Silver Prince Memorial Battle Sword Cup.
The Sterling Silver Prince Albert Memorial Battle Royal Samovar Trophy.
Yeah, I'm glad you have memorized that. That sounds like
Dan
a t-shirt.
Spivey's Sterling Silver Prince Albert Memorial Battle Royal
Samovar. That sounds like when we get our pro wrestling tees inevitable going. That sounds like a shirt.
Might just be.
But yeah, so we got the Authors of Pain with Paul Ellering. I kind of forget about these guys because
they were really
dominant.
About the presentation was good because everything they did wrong with the Ascension, they did right with AOP.
Right.
Cool.
I mean, and it depends. Like the Ascension was really good in NXT too. Like again, we have this ongoing pattern of almost everybody that goes to main gets
they were
wasted.
Good in NXT, but still, I don't think they ever could have succeeded outside of it because no matter what, once he pulled them up to main and outside of like the bubble, they were going to be seen as Road Warriors copies.
Yeah, and
which is
so
a
the
bummer.
Authors of Pain are that's what they are.
Demolition
Basically.
worked before, but like you
Yeah,
literally have Paul Ellering here with them. No
yeah,
Rocco
and
puppet. So that's
so
good.
we have Authors of Pain, which so their names are
Akam and Razar, not
which
Occam and Razor, but
okay.
Occam's Razor. We get it. Which
Okay,
come
I was
on,
gonna
man, they could
say
have done better than that.
I mentioned that. I
Chili
mentioned that. I'm
McFreeze
like,
shit.
I was like, that's what they're doing. Like, that's what they're going for. I hope, because otherwise, like, really, you no. So yeah, that's their
It's
names.
dumb. It's
I'm
Chili
gonna
McFreeze shit.
I'm gonna refer to them throughout the match as interchangeable Authors of Pain member 1 and 2.
Yeah, I don't
Because
even know who's who.
I'm not gonna read their name tag. They have name tags, by the way. So
No, they take off the vests, so you can't see
no,
them.
okay,
They just
well,
have like the tank tops.
yeah, and
So it's
I know people have given me shit in the past. So I'm like, it's just like Uso 1 and 2 in EW, always in EW. No more Jimmy and Jey Uso. It's Uso 1 and 2. Which one's which? Don't fucking know. Same thing. Who cares? Just move on with your day. So yeah, they're against. So everybody, it's weird because even though I don't love them, their work as a big tag team is really good. Like they do the role well. And they're again, the other guys. So Pete Dunne and Roderick Strong, obviously, I'm going to go off about how much I love Pete Dunne a couple times in this match. I fucking love Pete Dunne.
By the time Roddy Strong's coming out, I'm actually starting to feel the CFO's songs all sound the same complaint.
Yeah,
like, okay.
I did forget. So I said AOP's thing was kind of cool. I like that one. But so Roderick Strong, it's weird though, because like knowing what happens after this, like he goes into he's a heel, but in the Undisputed, so he's a heel face. He goes into that for like a year, and then he becomes Orange Cassidy light, basically, for a little while there, and now he's finally where he should be at the good promotion. It's just weird seeing him come out with like generic face theme, and he's like, "Hey guys, I'm a face." It's
No,
like,
Roderick Strong's not in AEW actually.
Is he not?
He's still in NXT.
Oh, he is. You're right.
Kyle O'Reilly though, he just made the jump. Which, speaking of which, when they come out, I've never liked Kyle O'Reilly's snaky walk thing, and he really overdid that in his AEW debut. Like, I just think it's like, okay, what are you doing?
It's funny because I'll admit, like at this time, I wasn't watching a lot of wrestling. Like I was following it, and I would watch these big shows. So I didn't really ever get a lot of O'Reilly in ring, but I really fucking liked it. And he's really fucking good. Has he ever wrestled Bryan Danielson at any point? Because they fucking should. They would have a banger of a match. I
believe they probably will soon, but right now they're technically both heels, so we'll see what happens.
Right now,
Danielson's already a heel.
Yeah, just throughout this match, like the way he works, I'm like that. He reminds me of Danielson a bit.
Yeah, he thinks about playing guitar with the belt. He's wearing both belts.
He actually does it a little bit. I did like that he's wearing both belts. That was kind of neat. Yeah. And Adam Cole clearly has no interest in anything happening. Right, he just does not.
Yeah, he's got his ribs taped. He looks like DDP in '97 or whenever that was. He looks
fucking 96 through 02. DDP, perpetually injured ribs, enough that your character in a video game has tape on his fucking ribs.
Dustin Rhodes and Jeff Jarrett are in the front row with the same exact haircut.
Yes, yep. Wrestling history right there.
Yeah, nowadays Dustin's got the buzz cut again, and now Jarrett's rocking a Kentucky waterfall dress.
Yep, and it looked like Dustin was still pretty chubby at this point, so he didn't get into AEW shape. It looked like just yet.
Not quite.
But yeah, so I said, how many AEWs can we spot? How many AEW guys now can we spot on the show? Probably at least 10, I'd say, throughout the show. People in AEW currently, 10, maybe more.
No, yeah, I would say so.
If you include Britt Baker, she was there technically.
She was there. She was there. So you got Britt, you've got Adam Cole, you've got Kyle O'Reilly, you've got Bobby Fish, you've got Aleister Black.
Ciampa.
You've got Andrade El Idolo. Ciampa's not there yet, but
I'm sorry, not Ciampa. I'm sorry.
Gargano is rumored to be coming.
He should
maybe because he just had a baby with Candice there. So
there's more to come. By the way, there's definitely.
So I would say there's at least six now that I can think of, 6 that are there. Which is considering there's 5 matches on the card.
I mean, isn't Selena there too now? Technically,
no. But,
or did she sign with someone else? Because I think she's back
with WWE again. She signed with WWE because they let her have her Twitch channel or whatever.
Oh god, that's a whole Jesus.
Yeah, but then some shit went down because Andrade and now Malachi Black are both there in AEW.
Yeah. Okay.
Which Yeah, the title match of this event is now in the opposing company. That's kind of funny if you think about it.
So we get standard big men thing. Big men do big things, throw everyone around. Cole's almost a non-factor in this entire match. He's basically
Yes.
he's selling the injuries early, and then he get a big spot happens, and he's really not in the match at all. I guess
No, he
I don't know if this is this match important enough to really go play by play. I don't think
no,
so.
I don't really think,
I will say
honestly, no.
it's not a long match. I don't have a ton of notes because there's not a lot. I basically just fawn over how much I love Dunn's offense and his weird finger things, just everything he does. And
Yeah, but the
O'Reilly's
crowd is
offense looks
super
really
into
good.
him. The
Yeah,
crowd is
no.
chanting cruiserweight like a motherfucker.
Yeah, no, they fucking
They're
love him.
super
Yeah.
into him. And the spoiler alert, as we said already, but obviously Roderick Strong, he descends. He attacks his own partner in this match,
Yes.
right?
So
And
so the end of the match is basically Cole's out. He's done. Was it AO? No, it's sorry, it was what's his name? Roderick's teammate. Oh, Pete Dunne.
Pete Dunne. Yeah,
So
so
Pete
he
Dunne hits his finish on O'Reilly. And as
Mhm.
he's about to get the 3, Strong makes a turn. Basically, he comes in, stomps in the refs like the fuck, hits his finish onto Dunn, puts O'Reilly on top of Dunn. 1, 2, 3. Undisputed Era retains their titles in now.
But the
I know
thing
you
that
wanted to
bothers
talk
me is
about
like you're
this.
watching a whole match of a guy, and it's not that he's not like there's legit offense between Strong and O'Reilly. Like he's actually beating the crap out
You
of him.
know,
It's not like he's working him.
no,
So like when and you can tell, I guess the part of the story of this match is that he decides at the end to change to their because both
yeah,
Cole and O'Reilly are supposedly surprised, and he like takes the armband off of
right.
Cole and puts it on
Yeah, and
himself.
so I wasn't sure. Like, I don't know if like leading up to this, like, I don't know enough about wrestling history. Like, I don't know, is there any association with Cole, Strong, or O'Reilly, as a group before this?
I don't really think
Like,
so.
I don't
I
think
think
there was. And I looked a little bit, and then I got bored immediately. But yeah, like, and I also don't think like there was any like it's not like last week. I don't think like Cole went, "Hey, you can join us," and handed him like like that would have made sense if like last week he's like they go through and try and get Cole knows he's going to be in 2 matches, so he's trying to get every other team go to Ellering. Hey, we got 2 armbands for you, and they because we've seen that in wrestling before. And
yeah.
then the one guy, I can imagine like Dunn throws it away, and then Strong kind of like the show goes off air with him just looking at it. That at least you're
Yeah.
planting the seed. I don't know if that happened. I don't think it
No,
did. They made
I
it
don't
sound
think
like
it
it
happened. I
didn't.
think this was totally a surprise because there's people in the crowd who look kind of angry.
Yeah, and
Um,
so it's funny because I actually loved it, but I'm also looking at it from just this show. I assume there was something set up. If it's just out of the blue like that, that's not very it doesn't make sense. Although regardless, it is a very effective heel turn, and
yeah, well,
he
I mean,
does.
this is how you get a faction over, right? They're
Yeah,
dominant. You have the leader, so to say, win his match, and then you
yeah.
have him by precarious means his faction
Yeah.
succeed as
And then
well.
from this point on, Undisputed Era, I think, holds almost all the gold in NXT for quite a
yeah,
while going
other
forward.
than the women's title,
Yeah, because
they do
because
because
they didn't have Brit yet. Basically, they didn't get
yeah,
Brit. That's it.
and and this is like I said earlier, I was complaining about the AEW presentation of Adam Cole, and they say just to wait, but so far they're just you don't the way that they look as they're posing with the belts here, and Roddy's posing with them, and they all do the symbol. The Young Bucks kissing Adam Cole in every match. You can't tell me that like, oh, he just got there when they literally do that in every match. Like, come on, stop
Yeah,
doing goofy shit.
yeah.
He's
I
cool
mean,
in
it
this
was cool. It
presentation.
was. I popped big for his like the show where him and like I popped big for that whole segment. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
once it's done, we don't. We get it. You're the click.
Don't do
Super
it in every
click.
fucking match.
Yeah,
Don't
I get it.
just do it one time
But
and then
that's the
get the
thing. But
pictures.
that's the thing, though, Sean. Are they just getting heat from you? Are they working you because they know you fucking hate it? Probably
Yeah, but
not.
I mean, like, is it real heat or is it
No.
X-Pac heat? Is it go
Uh,
home heat?
any heat is real heat. That's not true.
Okay.
Not true at all. But yeah, so I ended up giving this one. So Undisputed Era still title holders. I gave this a 6.5 out of 10. I teetered between 6.5, 7, and I said, "Fuck it, I'll go in the middle." I thought the match itself was pretty good. I liked the in-ring work from everyone. Again, Cole was kind of out of it for most of the match, so it was up to O'Reilly to hold him. But O'Reilly's offense looks really good. Him and Dunn had a lot of really good striking sections because they're kind of from the overseas where strong style's better. Strong style's just better. Strong style stuff looks fucking amazing. So just do that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll do that unless you don't want to end up like Dynamite Kid.
Well, no, just whatever. Look at Mil Mascaras. He just did drop kisses for his whole career. He's famous.
No, yeah.
But yeah, so I said it, it was a cool moment. We have to take Shawn's opinion into account. It is, now that you bring it up, you're ruining my immersion, and I'm thinking, and I hate you for it.
Well, I'm just like, if he knows he's going to join him, why is he kicking the shit out of him so hard?
I mean, so we had, and that, to be fair, that maybe I think that's just a wrestling meme trope at this point, because the Bubba Ray Devon TNA Aces,
but this exists in the same universe where the finger poke of doom is also logical. So shouldn't Kevin Nash and Hogan had a somewhat competitive match before they duped the fans?
Yeah, but that's Hogan, and he doesn't have matches.
It's not just Hogan; it's also Nash. Neither one of them wanted to bump. Nash took one bump because he knew that Hogan didn't want to take one bump.
I'll give you that. Okay.
Also, it wasn't. He didn't have to have Hogan set him up for the bump. He had to trust himself to take that fall.
Fair. So
he didn't mess his knee up.
What do we get? What
3 1/4. 3 1/4 from Meltzer, and that's it. So he doesn't really. He just kind of goes play by play.
That's kind of about where I was. Same, a little bit better than even, but not okay. Cool. All right.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, but again, it's more an angle than a match in my eyes. It's more to set up the Undisputed Era as the Undisputed Era.
Yeah, because this is when they're now the 4-man, and I think Fish comes back from injury fairly soon.
Yeah, he's just on crutches. I don't think it's anything.
I kind of wonder, like, how far ahead was this planned? Like, did they maybe know that maybe Fish was going to be out, and so they wanted to get a tag team partner in there, and so they
kind of know because they filmed their TV somewhat in advance back then, right? Mm-hmm. So like these pay-per-views are live, but the TV's actually a couple weeks ahead of where they're at. They're probably already a week ahead on TV of where this pay-per-view goes sometimes.
Well, I just mean like, like booking wise, like I know there's a lot of different takes on it, and I'm wondering, I feel like NXT definitely did a lot more long-term booking than the main ever did at this time.
Well, Triple H is in charge and not 20 fucking writers. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was. Rest in peace,
Regal.
NXT. Yeah, and Regal. Yes. But they had, so I'm wondering, I wonder if at what point they decided, hey, we want to get another guy in the, Undisputed Era. Not sure. It'd be interesting to if Triple H.
It honestly might have just been because Bobby Fish was out for a bit, and they were just like, "Fuck it, pick a popular baby face, turn him heel, let's go." I mean, Strong's good. Again, Strong's one of those guys. Like I said, didn't watch a ton of the stuff, but he looks good. He does. His offense looks good. I will say, is it O'Reilly that has a stupid tattoo like on his back area? I think so.
That was really distracting. I don't like it. Get more tattoos. Don't just have one tattoo.
See, when they win, Kyle O'Reilly really plays guitar with the belt.
Oh, he's fucking really nuts up there. He's and Bobby Fish with the mustache. You gotta love it.
Oh yeah, the
twirl. But no, they like, regardless of the plot hole, they definitely look like stars right here. But they go over. Yeah. They get put over huge. Crowds fucking going crazy. Their theme's pretty cool. They got their own any when a team has their own hand gesture, it's a real group.
Oh yeah, not just stealing the fucking Too Sweet, like they have their own hand gesture.
Yeah, they have their own thing.
It's like that.
Yeah, and so going from the birth of the true Undisputed Era into not a birth of anything, but a match. We have a match.
Well, actually, first we have a commercial for this fucking theme song, and the only reason I'm bringing this up is because Morrow says it's from the self-titled album Too Far Gone. No, the album's title is Too Far Gone. The band is Cane Hill. If it was self-titled, then the album would also be called Cane Hill.
Yeah, Metallica,
so what is it with fucking announcers and commentators just stumbling over fucking album titles?
The Sinister Surge.
Yes, the self-titled album Too Far Gone. That and then they actually show you Nita Strauss is in the audience, and Here's the
Okay,
thing.
so I
Like,
did see her. Okay, so it wasn't crazy. I was like, I'm pretty sure I
yeah,
saw
they
her at
show
the
her,
show.
but she's not playing. She's just
She's
there.
just hanging out.
And then they flash the thing on the screen. They just write Alice Cooper's guitarist. I was like, she's just write guitarist. I was like, that's
Yeah.
kind of misogynist. And as I'm thinking that in my head, Mauro Ranallo says out loud, she's one of the best female guitarists on the planet. And I was like,
come on. Can we
okay.
just say she's a good guitarist? Like, why do we just stop? Like, yes, more dudes play guitar than women. So, like, by default, more good ones would
But
be
like
men
Lizzie
than women.
Hale's up there playing fucking power chords, and then you're gonna just be like, one of the best female guitarists because that's the fucking playing field.
Yeah,
Shut up.
I don't. Yeah, I didn't even really catch that. So good spot on you there. But yeah, we get so Aleister Black. I don't know. I feel like most people like him. I love him. I think he's metal as fuck, and I dig him. He's got his offense is super cool. I like him. He's got a good look. I know some people don't really like him, which seems weird. Like I don't know what there's not to like about him.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but Meltzer complained that his character was diminished once they allowed him to talk, and I think that's really dumb because I think he's actually got great promo skills.
Yeah, no, his promo is good for what he does. I don't know. I just maybe it's because I'm a metalhead and always, I have been, and so I'm just drawn to tattoos, the look, that metal theme song, the entrance, But he's really cool, and then he's up against the champion Andrade Cien Almas. With Zelina Vega, his manager, who Aleister Black is married to. So there's that thing. But they don't act like they're married in this match.
No, not at all.
Aleister fucking sells the shit out of her offense. So maybe you can tell they're married there. I don't know.
Well, he also just sold for Rosario Dawson on AEW. So
true.
That.
So at this point, Black is actually undefeated in singles matches. They specify that because he was pinned in a tag match at some point. I really hate when they do that kind of thing, when they have people go on a win streak, but then they have that guy take the pin in like a tag match. Like, just have the other guy take the pin.
Have the other guy take the pin.
And then you could say he's never been pinned. Like, because, so he's on a winning streak. And apparently 1 year ago, his debut, he actually, it was basically to his 1 year anniversary with NXT. Used to be Tommy End. I do prefer his names now because Tommy End is kind of goofy.
Yeah.
But his name is Tom. So, whatever. It's fine. But he actually had one of the longer careers of a dude who was really big on the indies and never actually got like any real anything on the main.
Mean, part of that probably has to do with being from Europe, right? Because like it seems like that's its own world in terms of pro wrestling. Like, we're starting to see more of it obviously now with NXT UK and like the other promotions that they've done on the network and stuff. But like
and Walter.
Yeah, Walter's actually coming to main NXT soon. So I think Walter versus Braun Breaker will actually be a cool match.
I hope that's a good series of matches. I can get behind that one for sure. So we got them, and then Andrade, he again, it's weird. Like, he's one of those wrestlers that I know is good. But then I'm like, when I think about him, like, I can't think of anything like I know it's the same, ethnicity, but he's almost like Del Rio, where like he was always having good matches. He was always, pushed hard. But then I'm like, I really can't think of defining things about him,
Yeah.
So, but he is good. Like, he works well. He has banger matches for sure.
It's the same thing. I agree. I don't think I remember anything particularly remarkable, but he did have good matches. And at maybe this time, I wasn't watching NXT as much. I was actually I watched this event because I heard that the main event was a 5-star match, and there's pretty much it's a 6-star match. It's above a regular rating scale.
Except on this show, we don't break our rules unless it's for the 3 stars, and then we do, but not for our ratings unless I do that. We'll see. Who knows? But
we'll see. But if this one didn't tip the scale, I don't know that you.
I do want to say to counter what I just said, it's probably not a language barrier because Shinsuke is super fucking over and his English is very poor. So I don't think I don't know.
Well, the crowd is pretty split down the middle because you're hearing some like
you are
chants
getting some
from both sides.
Yeah, you get dueling chants, and not the awesome dueling chants we get later, where I've never heard a dueling chant that are both against one guy. That was pretty interesting. But so it's fairly split. Andrade's definitely the heel, and Black's definitely the face. That much is obvious. We get I will say this match to me started like the first half of the match. I actually was pretty underwhelmed.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
not going to
other
blow by
than
blow a
the
lot of it, but
no, other than the cabrata when Alistair comes off the like a springboard and does the cabrata, it looks like he's in slow motion when he leaves the ropes. And
yeah,
like the thing is in AEW, a lot of his offense is more of the Muay Thai and kickboxing stuff, more of
yeah.
his strikes. And here you get to see a lot more of his acrobatic stuff, which I don't
And
know if maybe he's downplayed that because, again, like you said, main roster. So when they brought Alistair up to main, they brought him in a tag team with Ricochet, and it was actually a really cool tag
it was a
team,
cool
but
tag team. Just didn't make much fucking sense
at all, it
because
made no
they're
sense.
not like similar. They're both good wrestlers, but like
Yeah,
yeah.
no, they both can do acrobatic stuff, but Alistair Black is
Yeah, and
way
so
more of a
that is
striker.
that is one thing though. That's one super underrated, and that's one reason I like Black so much because like we don't see a lot of his high flying, but he is very good at it. He's very fucking quick, and he can keep up with guys that can go. So,
Yep.
but Almas is again he's another one of those guys like his acrobatics are really good, but he
Yeah.
almost defocuses it a little bit just because so he doesn't become one of those almost flippy guys. I guess maybe.
Well, yeah,
Maybe
he's
that's what the
working
point.
luchas. He's a rudo in terms of lucha style. He's not a technico, so he's not
And
supposed to be doing
I
the
don't know.
flippy shit.
I don't know for a fact, but they made it sound like he definitely had a past career as a lucha wrestler because he came out
Yeah,
with the
he
mask.
was
So
La Sombra, and he's a third generation lucha guy,
okay,
I guess.
okay. So yeah, so he definitely grew up in lucha, and I will give him this. He definitely, thankfully, didn't stick to the lucha style because there's some stiff shit in this match,
Yeah,
which in lucha
he's
is
gotten bigger in the past 4 years. This was 4 years
yeah,
ago, and I'm pretty sure
yeah. No,
he's
he's pretty
larger in
big.
AEW.
It's another guy though. Like it's weird. Like I always thought Black was a bigger dude, but he's not. He's a pretty small dude. He's
No,
like 210, I think they said.
yeah.
He's not a big dude. It's I like that wrestling's well, other than WWE where Vince is back to they're big guys only. Like I like that.
Well, and it's not just Vince. You've got yes men underneath Vince. You've got
Yeah,
Laurinaitis back as head of talent relations, and
and,
you've got Bruce basically as showrunner for all three shows. So
yeah,
yeah,
and
it's
Triple H is
everybody telling
basically
Vince what he wants to
yeah,
hear.
and Triple H was it's weird that Triple H, who was always a big dude, is kind of the one who went, hey, maybe just a bunch of big dudes isn't maybe good wrestling. And
It's not what they want to see. Well, that's because Triple H made himself what Vince wanted, and then Triple H decided he wanted to be Vince.
yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that because I really I know it won't happen, but it'd be very interesting if Triple H bailed out, took all his friends, and started his own rival like AEW. He just doesn't have the money to do it.
No, I don't see that ever happening.
And he's not going to
because
AEW, but yeah, unless
he's not going
Vince
to leave Stephanie.
no, that's the thing though. Unless Vince sells the company and Stephanie is basically just an employee, at that point, who fucking knows? They could. I guarantee you, they can get some money people in there. So who knows? They could. The wrestling world could be crazy in the near future if Vince actually sells the company, and it definitely feels like he's on that path.
Yeah. There's one spot in here where they're setting up for a superplex, but I'm glad they only do it off the middle turnbuckle. Like one of my fucking least favorite things in wrestling is when you see both guys on the top rope because they have to be holding each other in order to stay up there.
Yeah,
because
so I
they're
mean,
only
certain
on the
moves I get you have to do, like Frankensteiner's kind of, there's a couple, but
It's okay if one guy's up top and one guy's on the second, but if
yeah.
both guys are on top, there's no
No,
feasible
I
way that
agree.
they're not holding each other.
I mean,
there,
so
which
it
is
does,
why
yeah, and I guess the only person that really does the like, so I consider that like a super-ish plex. It's a super-ish plex because
yeah.
he's off the second rope, the other guy's on top, which is fair.
But what happens here is Alistair finds some leverage and kicks off of the third rope into a sunset flip.
Yeah, it was a cool
Andrade.
spot. It was a very cool
Yeah.
spot. But yeah, this is where we pick up. So up to this point, it's been fairly slow. But we start picking up the match here, which, I was kind of at this point, like legit, like disappointed, like, I thought they'd have a better match. We definitely start picking up here. We're getting a lot more moves like that. Black goes for that thing. So he completes the flip, lands on his feet. So Black then dodges a charge from Andrade, and Andrade with moonsault. Black is on the ground. Andrade does a big moonsault, but Black rolls. Mm-hmm. And Andrade actually lands on his feet and does another moonsault, like a standing moonsault, to hit him, which was I kind of it was a visually impressive spot, but my inner there's no fucking way that really no chance kind of thing. Like, there's no way while you're upside down flipping, you would see that he's rolling and be able to suddenly go, I'm going to land on my feet and then do another moonsault. No, sorry. It was so a little bit, but it was cool looking. And then we get a bunch more cool strikes from Black. Andrade also throwing out the stiff strikes here. I think it's just one of those things when you work with a guy that, has good strikes. Like, it's almost like you want to also not look like shit there.
Yeah, there's one spot though where he does like an open hand slap that looks pretty lame, but other than that,
yeah. So that's not cool. So there's a cool hip toss. Andrade does a hip toss into the like turnbuckles. Basically, it's almost like a buckle bomb kind of thing, which is cool. And Black takes a pretty gross bump over the ropes here. And then we get a corkscrew
the
crossbody.
Crowd rises. They rise.
He looked like he's lucky he didn't hurt himself. He didn't, so we're good.
The corkscrew plancha, and then
it's a corkscrew crossbody. Sorry, that's what it is. I don't care what he said. I'm calling it the Americanized way.
But he's Mexican, so you can use that term here.
Oh, that's fair. But it's really cool because after this, it goes really crazy fast here. So he gets up, hits this
flying
crazy fast move. Hits the flying spinning jalapeno corkscrew. A fucking death, and then flings him in, pins him 1-2. Matches the pace is picked up fucking out of nowhere. They're going crazy here. But we get so I want to talk about Zelina here. So Zelina earlier did a Hurricane Rana off of the apron, basically at the beginning of the match, onto Black while the referee's distracted, and Black just fucking took a header into the stairs.
Yeah, she didn't actually connect that well, but he sold for it really well.
It. So what we're going into it here. So we're gonna have another Hurricane Rana spot. So she hits another. This is I think a top rope Hurricane Rana this time. No, just a regular, like a standing Hurricane Rana.
Yeah.
Or I guess is it a spinning Hurricane Rana? I don't know.
It's just a regular Rana.
Yeah. So he hits it, but Black doesn't take it like every other wrestler I've ever seen. He like goes full RVD and just like spikes his head into the mat.
Yep.
Which, so I want to say is weird, but I think Hurricane Ranas are one of the most visually impressive, but also if you think about it, you're literally forcing them to roll through the impact. So like nothing's happening. So like when Lita would hit them, it looks really cool, but like realistically, you're like, all you did was kind of knock him over. So I like that Black kind of goes, yeah, that wouldn't hurt anyone. Let me jam my head and neck into the ring. That'll do. And again, maybe it's because they're married.
By the way, you bringing up RVD made me remember something I totally forgot to mention in the very first match, which was Velveteen Dream's airbrushed pants. Eric Bischoff says he hates airbrush, and other than Ryback, I'm a fan of all airbrush. What about you? Do you think airbrush looks good?
I thought Ryback's just felt out of character. But then RVD's that's his fucking signature. He has to have them. Velveteen's basically stealing Rick Rude's thing here because Rick Rude used to put his opponent on his pants or his opponent's wives,
or just Cyndi Lauper, like celebrities, whoever.
And I think I'm sure he would talk about it. So Velveteen kind of pays homage to a lot of character. Like there's a lot of Savage in what he does and his his thing. The elbow, obviously. There's Rick Rude things in its physique, and then the pants he does Goldust stuff because is he gay? Are you
no God.
But so back to the match. We get just some more crazy, a lot of shit here. We're getting into a lot of spots. I'm not usually a big fan of like MMA finish moves. Like the Judas effect, I feel is kind of underwhelming because it's just a kind of flagging white dude. But like the Black Mass is fucking beautiful.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I can't think of a time where he's missed it. Like it's always at least looked like he connected, and it's a pretty fucking move.
Yeah, there's a kick out damages that move, so they don't do a kick out. Zelina puts Andrade's foot on the rope, and I think that's something important that maybe people in AEW need to take note of. Is every move needs to be a kick out. You can protect the finisher, and not have it finish a match by doing a bunch of other shit by having rules. What
Yeah.
what a concept! By having
Uh,
rules,
Hey, it's up. Hey, it's at the referee's discretion, Sean. Okay.
yeah. If only
Every
the
other show,
referees were
every other
paying
show,
any fucking
for
attention.
for every WWE show, I will complain. For AEW, they're fucking allowed to do whatever they want. Okay.
Okay, but if that 6-man or the 3-team 6-man tag match had happened in AEW,
Okay, so I
when it
will.
devolved to the spot of chaos, it never would have gone back. It would have just turned into a tornado match from that point on.
Bringing that up, I will say, I wrote down, and I didn't mention it, but I'm pretty sure that Morrow specifically announced that it would be 3 men in the ring at a time. So
Oh, yeah.
that didn't at any point that was not. It was just a tornado 6-man tag. So I don't know if he messed up or they just didn't care or didn't tell
They
him.
don't know what rules are anymore.
But he specifically said it would be so. And I said so. This will be a triangle tag team match where there's 3 men in the ring, but they'll have to tag their partner in to swap.
I think even if he'd be angry and know that some of them are stupid, they should bring in Jim Cornette to both major companies and have him write legitimate rule books. Like by their specs.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
But have him be like, this is how it goes. And if it doesn't go like that, the fucking referee calls a DQ or a no contest. And that way they can refer to it. Like, what's Cornette's notes say? And then they'll flip through the book and they'll be like, oh, that would be a DQ. We can't do that stupid fucking finish.
Yeah, so we get kind of a downside here of a move that I'm not a fan of normally, which is the coup de grace, the double stomp basically.
Yeah, but it looks like he's actually trying to dislocate his shoulder, not his elbow.
Yeah, so that we get first off, like setting up the way him and again maybe just because they're from Mexico, is this a Mexican thing? I don't know, but him and Del Rio both do that move. That's one of their signatures, and it convoluted moves usually like Omega's is fine because the whole point of it is it's convoluted. It's kind of like a wrestling meme almost. But like sometimes they're just, this is like the setup is like, so you have to get a guy outside or get a guy there, and then he has to hold himself up halfway for no reason so that you can do the double stomp. And he misses the double stomp completely. He like grazes his nipple vaguely.
Yeah,
so it looks bad. They showed it again. Still doesn't look good. So that was gross. But then we have, I guess this made up for it. So Black's now like in the corner. Andrade, not Andre. If Andre's here, shit. He hits a double, like a running double knee strike that looks really good.
Yeah.
Looked brutal. But Black kicks out because that's just his head. He'll be fine. Then we get a spot where he goes for the hammerlock DDT, which is actually a really cool move. Although I can only imagine being the one to take it, that probably sucks.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem.
Well, I mean, like, so how do you feel about draping DDTs? Do you think if he was on the top rope, because he first went for that, but then he fell off the rope? Yeah. If he went for that, do you think he theoretically in kayfabe? Do you think he would have gotten 3? Do you think the draping DDT is that much more effective?
I think in kayfabe, yes. I mean, in reality, probably it's the same. Maybe less. I don't know, because you're not spiking as much, really, because your body's already there, so you can just kind of, I don't know.
But do you have less control over your own body because you're relying on the rope to set you? Who knows?
I mean, in my theory, like realistic, if we're thinking about it, if your feet are on the rope and the guy goes to drop you, you just don't. You just hook your feet on it, and then you don't go as far. I don't know. It's one of those moves where you're like, I'm pretty sure. Let's move on and not talk about it. But yeah, so at this point, he Black tosses him over. He escapes the hammerlock DDT, the draping hammerlock DDT. I do like that they just call it what it is. It's hammerlock DDT. They don't need a fancy the jalapeno spicy chicken fritter. But so we get the same spot again that we got earlier, the double running knee, but this time it's outside on the apron against the ring post. So it doesn't look as brutal because obviously they don't want to fucking kill him. But it's a cool spot. I've never actually seen that like that, so that was cool.
Yeah.
And I said right here, this match really picked up now. So at this point, Andrade is kind of like, how the fuck? Why can't I beat him? Jesus. And Vega gets in. She gets on the top rope. At this point, I think it's funny because like logically you'd think at this point, if you have champion's advantage, all you have to do is cause a DQ, match is over, problem solved.
Yep.
Like he'll win, but you retain the title.
Yeah, and I mean, like if they were real heels, they should have done that.
And so at this, at this point, Vega's up there, and I think she basically says, "Fuck it, I don't care." The referee sees it. She does a jump. Black dodges. Andrade catches her in a crossbody, and as he turns around, it's a cool finish. I'll give it that. Black hits the black mass on him. He drops Vega, and then Black wins 1-2-3, clean in the middle of the ring.
Yep. And I mean, like, it's interesting that the ref didn't call for a DQ, but I guess because it happens so fast, even if it is Andrade who catches her, like, isn't that still interference? Isn't that still a disqualification?
So that's another trope in wrestling, because, like, technically, if there's any contact that the referee sees, even, you know, if she goes to hit Black and hits Andrade, technically Andrade is now the winner, which is exactly what we fucking saw. Here we go. The argument, AEW just did a finish like that where...
Oh, yeah. Punk just came in and attacked MJF's opponent, and so MJF lost his first match of the year by disqualification.
Which is
a classic wrestling finish.
I love it. It's good.
That would work better in AEW if AEW had ever established that they had rules to begin with.
Right, yeah. But yeah, so I don't know. I think I feel like this is another discretion, like, if there's no damage, like, because realistically, you should act like, maybe you count it, but then you go, well, that really did affect the finish, considering he only lost because he didn't just, you know, let her fall on her head.
Right.
But yeah, so I don't know. I thought it was interesting. I like when they try. It was okay.
I mean, like, you know, I think she was overselling the finish too, because she's screaming.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
You know,
well, I will give her this. She was very annoying throughout the match.
Oh yeah, but yeah, I wonder if she was that upset when they told her she couldn't have a Twitch channel.
I mean, I would be. You hear how much money they fucking make off Twitch? Jesus.
Well, I'm not surprised, you know.
That's a whole other business, you know, but yeah. So,
but yeah, I mean, it was the same situation. I guess Andrade and her going to the main roster here, and Alistair's taking over as the NXT champion for a while. And in case you weren't paying attention before, next up is the same exact clip from Paige's movie that I'm never going to watch.
Hey, we didn't even... I gave this one an 8 out of 10, actually. I didn't like it first, but I think it picked up. The second half was good enough. It was a banger of a match. I gave it 8 out of 10. Could have been better if the first half was up to speed with the second half. I probably would have gone 9, maybe 10, but... This was 8. I really liked it. It picked up. I liked the offense. I thought it looked good. I might be overselling it. Maybe it's a 7, but I'm okay with calling it an 8 here.
Meltzer gave it 4 1/4. He said Black's winning was a great match and was equal or better than anything at WrestleMania. It would have gotten far more attention if not for 2 crazy matches on this show. But Almas and Zelina Vega had been in such an incredible championship pair that unless they were being called up, going with Black, who has lost steam since he started talking, seemed like bad timing. Particularly right now, since Gargano is clearly the hottest wrestler on the brand and the most interest would be in his quest to get the title from Almas, who kept beating him. And if anything, with Candice LeRae as his side to counteract Vega, it would only make it a more natural and hotter program. So I can't actually deny that.
No, I mean, it's fair, but, like, we also know that Gargano's going to be a bit fucking distracted for a while here, so he's not going to go directly. How long are you going to hold the title on Andrade at this point, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it started out slow, got better. The crowd popped at the end. They're behind Black, so by the end of the match. So I said I don't think it's either man's best match. Obviously, Andrade's had, you know, better matches with Gargano, but yeah, it was good. I was a fan. I liked it. And yeah, we get the exact same promo. Exactly. Not any, like, the whole exact same part of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, could you show us another bit? Like, is there nothing else besides The Rock's in it? Is that the only selling point of this whole movie?
And the worst part is, I'm pretty sure that is The Rock's cameo in the movie. Like, he's not in the rest of the movie. So if you're trying to sell me that I need to go see the movie, that The Rock's in it, then don't show me the scene that The Rock's in, or at least don't show me the whole minute scene.
Yeah, I don't know the whole behind the scenes. I find it weird that The Rock got so interested in that movie because he was the producer, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was weird. Then we get Shawn, Shinsuke, and Nakamura.
Yes. We get the Royal Rumble commercial. So actually, funny enough, the reason that we're only seeing these 2 Rumble commercials is because we kind of have 2 main events with very similar consequences. You've got Daniel Bryan competing in an unsanctioned match for his WWE contract back to perform again. The day after, you have Gargano against Ciampa for Gargano's job back.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess you could call it poor timing, but they didn't know that Daniel Bryan would be medically cleared.
Well, we also didn't know
And
that. Yeah, that's fair.
NXT tapes their TV so far in advance that they couldn't fucking change gears on that either. So,
And I will say, as much as I love Danielson, that match was good. It was cool to see him back, but it wasn't anything like Angle at this point. Isn't Angle anymore?
right.
Brian, who else is in that match? Shane is Shane. He's just as Shane does. Shane is Shane.
Yeah, but I mean, I
okay.
did like his heel run with the vegan title. I think we got some good stuff out of him before he left.
I think Brian is a heel I like a lot more, honestly. I think it's well, right now, is he a heel or he's just kind of like he doesn't give a fuck?
He's a heel right now, but it's only because they don't have Kenny Omega. I really think that's it.
Yeah. So yeah, we get that.
I think Mox was going to turn. Because he was doing squash matches. He'd come in and just fucking kill somebody.
Yeah.
And then he went to rehab.
I hope he gets better. I haven't heard anything. Like, I think the only thing I heard was Renee mentioned a couple times on Twitter he's doing well. So hopefully he is, and hopefully he's back, because Mox is a lot of people underrate him, but I think he's a big part of that show because he brings a lot of I don't know, the realness kind of. So yeah. And I like him, obviously. I'm wearing a Mox shirt right now. So
but yeah, this next match is the unsanctioned main event. Interesting choice. Does Ciampa had music, but here he just doesn't because he's a heel?
Well, I don't recall exactly. Anyone that remembers, if you want to comment or whatever, let us know. I'm pretty sure he stopped using music for a little while just because, he's the bad guy. He doesn't care. I think,
because I mean, at first I was like, oh, because it's unsanctioned.
No,
but then the guy who literally doesn't work here anymore has music.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's
it's cool. We got a cool vignette for them as the DIY, the build up to this. One of the funniest things in wrestling ever is their thing of playing Rude songs at him. Bobby Roode's theme song at him in different strange venues. And I think
the Glorious Bomb, I believe.
Yeah, and it is sad because they did the last one not too long ago. Right before Gargano left, we got the last one ever, unless they all leave and go to AEW, which it'd be fine because Bobby Roode went from one of the biggest stars in TNA to little Triple H for a while, and then Vince got bored with him, basically.
Yeah. I mean, everything about this heel Ciampa is epic, right? Like,
it's so good.
I didn't care enough about DIY to think that their split initially was that good. But it's
Ciampa,
the development.
Yeah, so at the end, he obviously, turned on him and threw him, and then he was gone for a year. So that was cool. And during that year, Ciampa really almost was one of the early practitioners at this. I know it's not early, but doing his gimmick on Twitter and stuff while he's not there because he basically turned full-blown super heel while he was not there, just on Twitter, just shitting on everything. It was great. Mm-hmm. People, random things, kind of like Kevin Owens does. Those two are two of my favorite wrestling Twitter people because they don't give a shit. Fuck you. You're terrible. Kill yourself. Okay, thank you.
Well, I mean, Cornette calls Johnny Gargano Johnny Same Face because his face is expressionless, which I guess is a joke he makes of himself because his logo is his face.
I don't know.
As a smiley face.
Fine. I love him.
Ciampa is the exact opposite because he has some fucking intense eyes.
No, dude, Ciampa is and I think because this is Ciampa's first actual match back, so he came back and he was always in good shape, but now he's super lean. And the beard, he's got a heel beard now. His heel beard is in full effect.
Oh yes,
he's very good. So I'll talk about it later where I put them, but it's very good. But yeah, here we go. So it's Ciampa, Gargano. At this point, they've built this up fantastically, and I almost feel like if they had pulled this, I wonder. Here's another thing. I wonder: did they pull this? Did they know this was going to happen, or when they knew Ciampa was hurt? Did they at that point go, hey, turn on him when you leave so you come back with I'm kind of curious if it was planned already or if, the injury did that.
Yeah, I mean that's hard to. That's a question for Triple H one of these days.
Yeah,
I'm
and then
sure
even
one of these days he'll sit down and do an interview about his. Now that
yeah,
NXT is a time and a place and not an ongoing thing,
yeah.
I think he'll be open to discuss a lot of his decision making process.
Yeah, but
Actually,
the crowd. So I know the crowd hates a couple of. It's very rare when a crowd truly hates a wrestler,
yeah,
and this is
but
one of
no,
those
this
fucking
is it.
times.
There's a legit, loud, clear as day "fuck you, Ciampa" chant, and he's
Over
drinking it
and
in.
over throughout this match happens
Yeah,
repeatedly. I can only imagine like Vince is probably busy with Mania, otherwise he would have like stormed out and shut the whole show down.
yeah.
But yeah, no, the crowd fucking hates him and they love Gargano. It is insanely over here, which makes sense the way they've built this. It's I don't know. This is one of those moments in wrestling, just like this. Everything is like perfect. It's all
Yep.
perfect.
Drake Wirtz is the referee here in an NXT shirt and not a WWE shirt because it's unsanctioned.
Yeah,
but he
it's
still works for the
unsanctioned.
brand, just
Yeah.
not the whole company. I
Yeah,
don't
but yeah,
understand it. But he starts off wearing gloves and then he puts them away until
yeah,
there's maybe blood later,
yeah.
which
So
there isn't really blood.
that is one thing I want to say here. The only thing I wish this match could have had is blood, because if
Right.
if it was Triple H's call, there would be fucking blood.
But technically, it got something better. And we'll get there because, like, it didn't necessarily need it in the end.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know. I'm just a big proponent of I think blood when used like not I don't want gimmick battle royals where everyone's bleeding. I don't want deathmatch blood, but like
Yeah,
just
the problem is it seems to go like in Danielson Hangman too. Danielson cut himself too deep, and it was distracting for the rest of the match.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to see it, but I heard. I mean, I heard it was still a banger, but
It's a great match, but Danielson is bleeding so much it gets distracting.
I wonder if that's just. I mean, I wonder if it's just because he probably hasn't done
He's
that.
vegan.
Well, I mean, he hasn't probably bladed in fucking years.
Yeah, probably not. And no, it's because he's vegan. He doesn't have the iron in his blood from all the meat.
That's true. That is true. But yeah, so this match, the crowd is fucking going nuts. I've never, again, like I said, I've never heard dueling chants. So we get like a basically "Let's go Gargano" kind of chant, something like that. But
It's
then
Johnny Wrestling.
Johnny Wrestling. Then the counter chant is "Fuck you, Ciampa." Like you can't. You're dueling chants, and they're both just "Fuck Ciampa." It's so the crowd is so fucking hot for this, and the match kind of like I say here, this is almost like a Cena Punk-esque feel, or like like RVD Cena feel, like that kind of. The crowd is so in one side, and there's no like it's crazy. And Gargano starts it off going kind of crazy, and we get the non-sanctioned immediately because Gargano stomps him for like 20 fucking seconds straight, and the ref's just like
Can't count.
yeah, okay.
Unsanctioned.
And they do play it up a couple times, and I kind of like it. We'll get to that, but yeah,
Count to 3, not to 10.
yeah. And Gargano goes crazy, and then we start slowing down. So, spoiler alert: this is, I think, about a 40-minute match here.
Yeah, it's 36 and change.
So there's a lot of downtime, and I want to address that too because it's going to be tough to hit everything because it's a long match. But
yeah,
slow matches aren't always bad. Like slow matches that we've been watching are fucking terrible. If it's a slow match that has nothing involved and it's 10 minutes of fucking headlocks, okay. So this match is slow, but there's never like real downtime. Like it feels like all the downtime's like built in. Like they have some rest spots, but like it's after a double down when like they're both fucking dying or
right. It all makes sense logically. It all makes sense.
You can tell they spent a lot of time in the back going over every fucking detail of this match, and like they probably didn't write it down. Like I know Savage was you memorize everything. Like I feel like they didn't memorize everything, but they kind of knew. Like I guarantee you the refs in there giving them like, hey, we just hit this time, so move on to the next series.
Yeah, he's got the in-ear piece.
Yeah, so they're definitely being called, and that it's how it is. I don't know. It's how you like it. Randy's matches were also great, but he liked to make guys memorize the entire match. It's just how you work. Then you have other guys that don't like Mick Foley's like I don't even want to. Let's just go wrestle and see what the fuck happens, kind of stuff.
Exactly. Call it all in the ring, which I think is what Punk's been doing a lot of lately in
Yeah.
AEW. But yeah, this is well constructed. You can tell because it flows together like it's been put
And
together.
so
But
there's a backbreaker, Sean, a good one, not an ugly one. Why do so many people suck at backbreakers? It's just such an easy maneuver to do.
there was a decent one earlier because I wrote down that Kyle O'Reilly got a pretty decent
Kyle, he
backbreaker
did.
from
But
Roddy
there's a
Strong,
perfect one right here.
Roddy Strong, who then shakes his hand and becomes his friend later in the match.
That happened. So right off the bat here, we just got they're basically just brawling, and Ciampa immediately exposes the concrete. And
well, he actually dumps they get dumped over the guardrail first onto the same concrete, and then come back over and then rip it up. And I'm like, if you hadn't just taken a bump on that same concrete, I might pop a little more. For the concrete.
I kind of get that, but then when we see the bump,
they save it. It's one of those where they set it up and they try to get you to forget about it.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I kind of did.
The reason you don't is because the camera shows it clear as day before they fall onto it. If the camera had followed them down, you might have forgotten about it. But they make up for it by doing a turnbuckle spot, just like we saw in the Royal Rumble last week. Also, immediately following that. So there's a lot of shit in this match.
Yeah, so they do that, and then they kind of a super kick from Ciampa. Blah blah blah, throws Ciampa. So Gargano hits Ciampa with a super kick as he kind of escapes, because I think they were teasing pile driver onto the concrete by Ciampa, and Gargano escapes, counters.
There's a couple pile driver. You never attempt a pile driver on concrete or on a table. You just never attempt it. It's going to backfire. You never attempt a pile driver.
I think I've seen one pile driver through a table ever, maybe.
Yeah,
I know it happened. But so he gets out of it. He throws Ciampa not onto the announcer's table, but fucking clear over into the fucking announcers, and then we lose commentary for probably a minute or so.
Morrow goes, "Oh God!" and takes his headset off.
Oh God!
And you can hear one guy in the crowd go, "Mamma Mia!" before the crowd starts chanting it. Mamma Mia!
It's so good, and then
it's fantastic that the crowd starts chanting it.
Yeah, and at that point, Ciampa's over there. Gargano is fucking, he's good. Nigel's the only one that gets his earpiece back in. Who's the other guy? Percy? I
think so. I didn't actually see their faces.
I feel like he's kind of like the guy that doesn't really talk much.
Not much. He doesn't really know. You can't really fit in alongside Morrow. He just kind of steps all over everybody, but it's fine because I think he's hilarious.
I think Nigel does a good job, but Nigel's also kind of an understated, kind of almost gorilla-esque. But it slows down here. They get that. That was cool. They tease a pile driver through the table now, but Ciampa fights it off this time.
You don't try pile drivers through tables or concrete.
But we get a fucking brutal spot here. So it's on the padding. But Ciampa hits a full-blown fucking suplex off the table, and it's not like a little one. It's a fucking good suplex, and they both just fucking splat onto the mat.
Yeah, as a wrestling fan, that hurts worse. If you know anything about the business, that hurts worse than the table, because the table breaks your fall. This being thrown clean off the table onto padding or not is way bigger.
We saw the padding, and a lot of people. I'll talk about that for a second. It's basically like the padding you do when you're in a gym, like the blue mats kind of thing from school.
Yeah,
but I don't know if you guys did this. I did because I liked wrestling. Did you ever take a flat back bump onto that? It still fucking knocks the breath out of you. And that's from standing to falling. This isn't like a rolling where they're protected. I'm pretty sure Ciampa just crushes his head against it. Gargano, I cannot express enough how fucking brutal this looks. And then they do a replay from a better angle, from a side angle. It's a crazy fucking spot, and it's crazy because it's not like a high. I guess it's high risk, but it's not flipping. It's not. It's just a move that is brutal. It's so good. That's the kind of thing I like in wrestling, when they just do one thing that normally it's just a suplex, but with all they did was do it outside, and it's fucking brutal.
Yeah. I was wondering if I could find, and I never really was able to find who the fan that just so happened to have crutches for Ciampa to take.
Oh yeah, so we get that.
Those were already Ciampa's favorite weapon at this point, Yeah. And to be honest with you, they could have done this a million different ways, because they're just setting up the Undisputed Era as these ultra heels. I think they could have had Bobby Fish give him his crutches.
So I actually think so. I think they do it soon, but right now So right now we're just more fuck you, Ciampa. We get a back body. So I actually want to talk about this. Gargano took the top of the table off, like the logo bit, and he set it up, and then he did a backdrop onto Ciampa onto it. And I think that actually looked better than when they just go through the announce table normally.
Oh yeah, I mean, like it bounced, it didn't snap, it splintered, but it didn't snap. And
I think that looked, the table no sold him there. More fuck you, Ciampa. So we're slowed down again after that just happened, I think. So they're kind of just brawling, but at this point, Ciampa's kind of taking back over the match. Gargano goes for his discus punch. Ciampa counters it, locks in the clover hitch. I thought he was going for the, Texas cloverleaf, but he didn't quite. It was kind of like a half C's one, almost like Edge's move, kind of, which is fine. But it's cool, though, because Gargano gets to the ropes, but the ref's no breaks, huh? And then Gargano Ciampa actually uses the rope to get a little bit more leverage. So I like that. Mm-hmm. And then he gets out of it, and but then we get one of my favorite parts. It's kind of a high spot, but so Gargano's like halfway out of the ring over the apron, and Ciampa just does probably 15, 20 strong style kicks to the back of his fucking head.
Yeah.
It's fucking, it looks brutal. It looks amazing, and I love it. That's more of that. So now, Ciampa's now, Gargano's dead. Ciampa's just fucking with the crowd. He's so good at what he does.
Ultra heel work.
Yeah, a big running knee lift onto Gargano, who's still draped, so he's on the apron from the outside. Big running knee lift on that. And now we get, Ciampa, so it kind of plays into it, because Ciampa came back, he was on crutches, and then he attacked him with the crutch, and he's like, I can walk, haha. And that kind of became his thing. It's almost like a mental, like, he was on crutches for a year, so I kind of get it. It makes sense. I like it. Mm-hmm. But they basically just steal it from some random dude who wasn't there at any other point. He's just wandered up for this spot. It's kind of like the when Gowan gets his leg fucking stolen. It's like, oh, is that as dastardly as stealing a man's fake leg? No, but okay. Also, they really didn't need to steal both of them. You could have just taken one. But he's a heel, so he can fucking take them both.
Of course.
And this kind of goes into the next series where they have like a lightsaber fucking duel. No. Ciampa has it, and Gargano dodges him a couple times as he's trying to whack him. And then Gargano hits a pretty cool rolling takedown kick, and then a kick thing is pretty cool. I like their offense. They do different things that you don't see all the time, and that's what I like in wrestling. So
they both do power bombs in this match, which you wouldn't really expect them to. Variations of power bombs, I suppose, because this is actually Gargano's next big spot. We finally get to see the concrete here.
Yeah, so we got a little bit here where Ciampa teases, doing a suplex over the, from inside over the rope onto Gargano. Gargano escapes. He goes for a slingshot DDT to the concrete, counters it. Ciampa did a driver move type thing. But so Gargano then goes for a sunset flip, and essentially he just power bombs Ciampa from the apron onto the concrete.
Yeah, and it looks awesome.
I will say,
the fans start chanting, "You deserve it," which is the perfect place to hear that shit. I've never heard that used like "fuck you." You deserve it.
And again, I cannot state enough. If you don't watch this whole match, go watch this spot. And I say here, once we're big famous fucking podcasters, I would love to do a short interview with Mick Foley and ask him, rate this fucking bump, because I think even Foley would be like, "Yep, yep." Now I will say,
especially for a guy who had neck problems. Is this what gave him neck problems, or did he already have neck problems?
I think he had it before, but I will say they do it about as safely as one could possibly do this thing, because when Ciampa goes off, he actually crouches pretty low, so he's not like flung down, and Gargano doesn't slam him. He kind of just follows through with it. But Ciampa takes a flat back bump from the apron to the concrete. And again, I know that's why I want to know Foley, because Foley was known. That was his big thing. The NXT plunge was taking a flat back bump onto concrete. So I'd like to see what he says about that.
Foley doesn't go backwards over anything. I love how he'll always flip to go face forward. It's
yeah.
fantastic now that you like once you know that about Mick Foley and you look for it, it's fantastic.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, he doesn't, yeah, he like nothing, yeah. So, but yeah, no, go watch that spot. I popped huge. The crowd went fucking nuts. I remember at the time, like, wrestling Twitter fucking broke for a bit after this match,
Oh, yeah.
but that spot especially. Yeah, and then a big "you deserve a" chant, which, like I said, 99% of the time when wrestlers do something like that, the crowd will go, "That was fucking amazing! Holy shit, this is awesome!" But no, right here, after a dude just got powerbombed flatback onto the fucking concrete.
Yeah, you deserve
fuck
it,
you,
which is
yeah,
a
you
chant
deserve it.
normally reserved for like a wrestler who's retiring and getting something good. Like you deserve
It's
it
so
is like
good.
an endearing chant usually.
Yeah.
So yes.
But yeah, so both men at this point they fucking crawl in, and then we're getting into like, I'd say like there's like stages of the match. I feel like this is getting into the last stage. They've just done the big moves. They're both basically fucking dead.
For the most part.
They both crawl into opposite corners of the ring here, and it slows down, and there's a crutch in the middle of the fucking ring.
Right.
And so now we get a little bit of a goofy spot, and some people I know from reading this didn't like it. I thought it fit really well. Like, they're desperate at this point to fucking win this match. They killed each other, and there's a weapon right there. So they have like a tug of war over the crutch. And like I said, is it cheesy? Probably, but I think it works really good here. And Gargano wins because Ciampa, I think Ciampa like, it gets yanked out of his hands, and Gargano goes fucking nuts with that crutch.
Yeah, he bends the absolute fuck out of it over Ciampa's back.
This is not a gimmicked crutch. So I don't know if any of you, if you've never used an actual crutch, they're designed not to bend when you put your weight on them. That's kind of the point of them.
Yes.
So to bend that, it's the same with chair shots where people are like, oh, it doesn't hurt. Go fucking hit yourself with a chair enough, like it'll hurt immediately, and then imagine someone doing it to you enough to dent the fucking chair. Stop it. Just stop it. It's nuts. You would think it's not a very good weapon, but like I think it's more effective than a kendo stick. Personally, kendo sticks are kind of like, I'm sure they hurt, but they're loud. I'm sure they hurt, but like,
yeah.
But yeah, so he goes over.
It really slows down.
Yeah, slingshot DDT for 2. We're slowed down. We get
the spear attempt into the knee.
Yep. Gargano takes the turnbuckle padding off the second rope, and he goes to lawn dart Ciampa into it, but Ciampa escapes and hits a pretty stiff fucking back elbow after a little back and forth there. Gargano goes for the sling spear again. He really likes that maneuver, which is fair, but yeah, we get the knee there. I said here, very pretty running knee lift. Ciampa, it's a good move. So Ciampa pulls out the DIY taunt here, which the crowd fucking hates. That's just so Ciampa's back in control, but is
this where we get the power bomb into the double knee thing?
We're getting really close. So yeah, at this point it's slowed down, and Ciampa's kind of like, what the fuck do I have to do to put him away at this point?
Right.
Yeah, and so they kind of work their way up to the rope, and then there's a flurry. Gargano goes for, I think it was supposed to be like a reverse. Okay, so hold on. We get a reverse Frankensteiner. I don't know, Hurricanrana, just a jumping one, and they don't get all of it. Ciampa doesn't spike like usually the wrestler's supposed to spike into their head when they do that.
Yeah.
He kind of missed it, but they move on. He locks in the Gargano escape, the Gargano escape. That's the only time I will properly enunciate that move because I cannot be bothered. But yeah, so he now gets to he now goes to get the ropes. Referee's like, can't break it. And Ciampa does what a heel should do and fucking just starts gouging his eyes. Both of them aggressively. Yep. And then we get more fuck you, Ciampa stuff. And so now we're getting into the last stage. So Ciampa takes off his wrist tape and we get, classic fight forever. So he takes his wrist tape to fucking kill. I think he's going to murder him. That's what he's just going to murder him with a garrote, wrist tape. And Gargano gets out of it, and Gargano holds onto the wrist tape. It's obviously on Ciampa, and they brawl for probably a solid minute of just stiff looking punches.
Mm-hmm.
Crowd loves it. It's really good. Every fucking punch. Yeah, fuck you. Yeah, fuck you. But Gargano gets it. Gets the edge and just goes straight to fucking Dick Kick City. Just right to the dick. No
Oh, yeah.
rules. You can do it. You're a face, but in this case, you can do it, and starts beating him with the
Yeah,
crutch a bit.
it's
Yeah.
not heel work if it's an unsanctioned match.
Yeah, and so at this
And
point,
they gave that
yeah.
away from the get-go, right? With the stomping. So,
Yeah, and so right here, I don't know. We get the first one of this. So what it is, it's basically a power bomb, but then when you go, it's like a sit out power bomb, but instead of sitting out, you drop them onto your knees. So Gargano
yeah.
hits the first one onto Ciampa. I don't know the name of this move. I don't know if it's named. I don't think it's anyone's finisher. At some point later, I hear someone say Shatter Bomb. So I'm going with that. That's a cool fucking sounding name for this move. So we're going with Shatter Bomb until told otherwise.
I would say Ciampa's is more effective because he has the knee brace.
Yeah, so we're gonna see that in a sec. So yeah, he gets it, but Ciampa kicks out of the pin attempt, and then yeah. So wait, hold on. No, yeah, I'm sorry. So yeah, that happened. Gargano then is now like crawling up in that classic, Michael's Taker moment where Ciampa's just be done. And Gargano's like dragging himself up Ciampa to continue fighting. And then they start. This was a weird section, but I thought it was also fitting. They don't punch each other. They just start full arm fucking slapping the shit out of each other. Back and forth a bit, which normally is whatever. But Gargano hits a super kick after this little slap fest, and then lawn darts him into the turnbuckle that I forgot existed. There's turnbuckles exposed, hits him, and then he hits one of the most brutal side kicks I've ever seen. It was fucking good. When Ciampa was on his knees after that. Mm-hmm. So that was a good one. And he kicks out. So fucking crazy. And yeah, the crowd at this point, they're actually like, it's very rare that an American wrestling crowd is silent, unless even when there's an injury. But like Japan is known for their being so into the match that, they're kind of like, ooh, ah. Yeah. It's very rare to get reactions out of them. At least it used to be. It's probably different now, but the crowd's legit quiet here for probably 15 seconds of just like, well, they're double down. They're just like, what the fuck is happening? What is this? It's very good. And then here we get the part Shawn was talking about earlier. Gargano goes to the top. Don't know what he was going to do, but Ciampa hits a running knee lift and a fucking stiff headbutt, which seems to be a theme in this show. Mm-hmm. And so he sets up for a top rope move. I don't know what he was going for, but Gargano breaks free and hits basically the top rope. So a top rope shatter bomb. So a power bomb onto Ciampa from the top rope onto his knees.
Double knees. Yeah. With the knee brace, which then he goes to get a near fall again.
He kicks out of that.
And then he gets frustrated.
He looks
and
like he's
takes off the knee brace.
Well, Ciampa looks like he might actually cry. Ciampa's facial expressions are like, it's one of those things I know I come back to. And it sounds like a weird thing to harp on, but it adds much, especially like maybe in the crowd, even in the crowd though, because like I think Jericho said it in one of his books. He's like, facial expressions are great because the camera's going to be there, but you still have to like exaggerate everything. And I think Ciampa does that fantastically. The whole crowd can see he's like, you're fucking kidding. Yeah. So Ciampa it's almost like he doesn't want to. And we're going to have a couple spots here where this harks back. So when DIY was still a team, him and Gargano had a match in one of the, I don't know if it was Cruiserweight Classic. They had a match against each other for something. And
I think it was the Cruiserweight Classic.
Yeah, and Ciampa basically stopped himself from doing a finishing, like a devastating move onto Gargano. And Gargano then got the win with a roll-up. And that was, at this point, a year plus ago, which is why I love long-term storytelling, because that comes into play here. Because Ciampa's basically like, I give up. I don't know what to do. So he takes off the knee pad, and takes off his thing, takes off the knee pad, exposes his surgically repaired knee, which seems, counterintuitive, but we'll go with it. Who cares at this point? Goes for a running knee, and Ciampa goes for a running knee. Gargano hits him in the knee with the knee brace that he took off. Yeah. Which, realistically, he tore his ACL, which I think is on the back, so I don't really know. It probably still hurt your kneecap, but I get what they're going for. But yeah, that was the one. So Gargano gets the crutch, and he breaks the crutch in half, right?
Yes.
And goes to actually stab Ciampa in the fucking face with a fucking broken in half thing. But so right here, I cannot state enough. Ciampa's work is great. He begs off, so it's so fun.
And
This whole moment.
worth to mention that by this point he's been hit in the head by the crutch enough that he is significantly swollen over the right eye.
Yeah,
so he's pretty much looking battered and beaten.
Yeah, he looks done. He's overwhelmed. You know, he already had a couple near breakdowns where he's just like, what do I have to do? And then, this comes back from what I said where Gargano's the good guy, and he still has the conscience. And so he can't just stab you probably think he'd go to jail. So maybe that helped. But yeah, in storyline...
Yeah. This is a crime. I should stop.
Yeah, in storyline, Ciampa didn't finish him, and so like Gargano's like, I can't. And I almost like the first time I saw this, I was like, and I was like, are they gonna like? Is this the moment where they're like friends again? And it almost looks like Gargano puts it down, gets to his knees next to him, and it's honestly a pretty emotional. You're like, okay, all right, okay, this is storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ciampa does as he does. He, looking sad, dejected, looking bad, dejected. He grabs his knee brace and goes to deck Gargano with it. Gargano rolls through it, doesn't get hit, locks in the Gargano lock. But no, that's not the finish. You'd think it would, but it's not. It actually gets kind of gross. The finish looks incredible. So Gargano breaks it. He gets the STF locked, like the leg lock in, and he grabs the brace and yanks Ciampa back with the brace. And it's not like a light, John Cena STF. He gets him up like straight up,
and
on
they
his
have
knee.
Him tap like immediately.
Yeah, he taps.
Like, whoa, no way.
Yeah,
and
it's insane. It's so good. And so winner by submission and reinstated to NXT. We mentioned that, right? That he was.
Yes. I mentioned it because he had theme music. I mentioned, why does he have theme music when he doesn't work here, and the other guy doesn't have music and he does work?
Yeah, I think we mentioned, but so Ciampa cost him his NXT career basically because he was against Almas. He said, if I don't beat you, I'll leave NXT, and Ciampa cost him the match. So, but yeah, this 10 out of 10. Like it is.
And again, Meltzer gave it 5 stars, and he pretty much just said that was a crazy match. It'll be interesting to see how the NXT title picture goes from here. So that didn't happen. He needs to see Chicago too, apparently, and all that stuff that unfolds. But
so that was it. And then after the match, this is where I actually did get I tear up at shit, and it's something I do. I'm an emotional roller coaster of a man. But Candice runs out to celebrate, and I'm like, it's legit one of those moments where you're like, this is perfect, and the crowd, you can tell like they're the same way. It's so good, the match was. It was crazy. Like, it was fast paced, but it was slow, but it wasn't slow. It's so hard to explain. Like, you just have to go see how hard hitting this. Like, it didn't feel like an American match. This felt like a Japanese match.
Yes, but it also had, I would say, better storytelling than most Japanese matches.
I think so. Yeah. A lot of Japanese matches are stiff for the sake of being stiff. This one was stiff because at this point,
there were stakes. It's a blood feud, and it's one of those where they had immediately following this event, they had a Facebook Live with Triple H and some lady. I can't remember her name right now, but I can't remember
Lawler?
for Facebook.
Tony Lawler?
No.
Oh no.
No, certainly not. But he's visibly choked up in this interview when he gets asked about this match. You can tell he's super proud of it.
Yeah, and I was like, because right after after this, I say this, and then we get back to the ring. Gargano's in there, and Johnny one face, he's got another face. It's right here. He looks, his face is just like, I'm back. This like everything about this match was just fucking spot on.
So for the reader polls on the Wrestling Observer, 634 gave it a thumbs up. 1 gave it a thumbs down.
We're at this point again where there's just one dude that's like, I hate everything.
Yes. 19 thumbs in the middle. So 96.9% for even more.
I would really be interested to like hear like a legit take of this, and I want to see why, like maybe the whole show, but I feel like with the first and last match, how can you give it not even like even if it's just barely a thumbs up? How can you not give it a thumbs up?
Yeah, I honestly think sometimes those I don't know that they actually have to write a review. They might just have to check a box and send it to Dave. So,
possible, yeah, but
some of them could literally just anything that says NXT, right? Thumbs in the middle.
yeah, but if anyone out there knows of anyone that reviewed this match and they gave it anything below, at least a 4.5 out of 5 or 10 out of 10, I'd actually be interested to kind of read like a write-up just to see like why didn't people like it, like what was the problem with it, like I'm like Corny. I would love to see Corny. I'm sure he's got something he fucking hated.
He might have reviewed this. I'd have to go back through his stuff's kind of harder to navigate the older stuff unless you're a patron, and I don't want to be a patron. I'm not paying for that.
I know, but yeah, my overall rating for the
best
show,
match poll. Match poll was Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa. Obviously, overwhelming majority. 392 voted for that one. 189 voted for the North American title.
And I do want to say it is kind of nut, like having that as your opening match and being able to top it. Yeah. I don't know if there's another show in wrestling history where the opener was that good, but the main event still was able to top it. Like it's not a thing that happens often. Like I know in Japan a lot. I know
if you compare it.
Go ahead.
Like, do you remember Mania 31 opened up with a multi-man ladder match wherein I think Dean Ambrose got injured or somebody got injured on a ladder pretty seriously. I can't remember who it was. This was the outdoor one when Sting had his match against Triple H.
Yeah.
And the main event was like I think it was Lesnar and somebody.
Reigns? No,
we might have been already Lesnar and Reigns, and then no, it might not even been Lesnar, but it was Reigns and somebody, and everybody knew Reigns was going over, and then Rollins came out and cashed in after Reigns won, and then won immediately.
Wait, who was? I can't remember, but it's just very rare. You have like I know in Japan there's a lot of shows, but in Japan like so. I do know one Meltzer fact. This was the first North American wrestling show that Meltzer rated two 5-star matches in one show.
It was. By the way, it was Lesnar and Reigns. So they've been doing that shit since 2015. They've been trying to do Lesnar and Reigns as their main event at WrestleMania, and they're going to do it again this year.
Yeah.
7 years in a row. So interesting.
So I ended up giving this show I gave it a 9 out of 10. Now it was obviously carried by the opener and the closing match.
So the one thing that made it not perfect, I assume, was the women's match, right?
Exactly. If that match had been, even if it was just a match and it didn't have like the convoluted stuff going on, like
it was the shoulder shit. That's really all it was.
If that had been done in reverse, totally fine with it. I wouldn't have minded. Like if Baszler injured Ember Moon, like I think a better way to do this would have been like Baszler dislocated Ember Moon's shoulder and Ember Moon tried to fight back, but Baszler just ruthlessly fucking took her out. That would have made more sense. Yeah. It would have accomplished the exact same thing. It just would have made more sense. So yeah, that was the only flaw. And like I said, I can't say it was like it was a bad match. Like I'm not saying that was a bad match. It was passable. It was fine.
No, yeah, for sure.
So, I think this is the first show we've seen where there's not just blatantly a match that was like this. Why is go leave? And it kind of felt that was the only point in this show where we really had like a break. The first match was I don't know how long, 30 minutes long. The first 31 minutes. We had a 12-minute Shayna Baszler thing, and then we go straight into the tag team thing, which was there's a lot going on. Alistair and Andrade. We got a little bit of a down, and then it picked up. And then that last match, the whole time, like there's no, I know there's downtime, but the whole, like as a fan, that whole time you're just like, this is,
Yep.
But three stars of the night. Let's see. I think two of them.
Well, yeah, I would assume it's the main event.
You probably know all of them, actually.
And you're not making it 1A and 1B for Gargano and Ciampa. I assume you're making them just 1 and 2.
Yeah, I could. For how good that was, they both deserve. I mean, So number 3, I gave to Adam Cole.
Okay, fair enough.
He's he won the ladder match.
No, yeah, for sure.
And then the Undisputed Era formed. I know that wasn't him. Like I kind of considered giving it to Roderick just because that was kind of his moment, really.
Yeah,
But
I
then
mean,
I was like, yeah, but this cemented Adam Cole as the guy going forward. So
yeah.
I gave that to
Well,
Cole, and then yeah,
I mean, honestly, yeah, this is probably the top-notch NXT event. Like, I know there's a few other takeovers that are considered to
yeah.
be
I mean,
perfect, but
it's crazy when NXT, they have 10 shows that are all right next to each other with this show. But yeah, so 1 and 2, Ciampa and Gargano. I gave 1 to Gargano and 2 to Ciampa. If rethinking it, I think they're both 1 and 2. Like they're both just on both because
yeah,
they both play the role perfectly. I just gave it to Gargano because I guess he won and it was his moment. So, but
okay,
I don't know. Like honestly, if I had to list like, it's hard to list like a guy's overall careers like best face, best heel because like there's moments like Edge's heel run was great. He had other heel stuff that was okay. It was whatever, but they're different. But I feel like in this moment, Ciampa and Gargano were like this is one of those top 5 actual babyface versus heel like moments,
yeah. Well, there's sometimes when you split up quote unquote best friend tag teams that it works, and there's
Yeah.
sometimes when you do it and you drag it out too many times. Like, as far as I'm concerned, Kevin Owens can't do another one of those. Between doing it twice with Sami Zayn, both on NXT
Yeah.
and on main roster, and then again with Chris Jericho, just repeating the
Yeah.
fucking same storyline. Essentially,
Yeah.
obviously they Jericho has a
But
more
different.
charisma than Zayn.
Yeah.
It's different, but like it's still, you can only do this story so many different ways,
Yeah.
and it seems like this is the classic way to do it without too much sizzle on the steak.
And
It was perfect.
I think maybe I almost think like let's do a little bit of theory booking here. Like if this had happened, but Ciampa didn't get hurt, I feel like this would have had nowhere near the heat and build it did. I think just because he was out
Right.
that long, and then
For sure. I mean, like that's something we just watched with the Royal Rumble too. The reason Triple H came into that Rumble hot is because of
he
the
was
quad
out.
injury that put him out for so long.
Yep. Like when you come back from injury, you're a face.
Yeah, and if he hadn't had that injury, RVD definitely should have been the guy to go over that Rumble. But since Triple H came back with that huge pop at Madison Square Garden, there wasn't really another option.
Yeah, exactly. And so this whole story, they have some more, there's more history to these guys. This isn't the end of it. They have more matches. There's a weird bit there where they swap. I'm not like, a lot of people hate that when Ciampa is the face and Gargano's the heel. But I actually kind of like both of them in that role too. I think they both pull it off. But they're I think right here is like the peak of what they do together. Everything else is very, very good, but I think this is just like you can't beat it. And it's one of those things where they go on to feud more, obviously, because you're not just gonna end it after one. I almost wish they had just at this point just been like keep them separate again for several months. Maybe have Gargano end up, or Ciampa take the title, and then I think that's what they do. But I think they flip flopped face heel for their next or for their third fight. I think Ciampa wins the next match in their series, and then they have a third where I think they're face and heel. But that's for future. That's not now. This is so good. It's so fucking good.
Yeah, you really can't beat an event like this, and it was nice to treat ourselves. But getting back on it next week, we'll be back in 1997, 25 years ago, with In Your House 13, Final Four.
Yeah, then Sean's going to have a lot to talk about there. There's a whole bunch of preamble we got to get through for that.
Well, Shawn loses his smile, and we're going to have a good old time talking about that one. But the week after that, we'll be doing AEW Full Gear 2019, so we'll get to take a chance to look at a good event again. That'll be nice. Fresh air.
That'll be our first non-WWFE event, too, technically.
Yeah, that'll be a fun time. After that, we'll have another event.
I think I picked that one, too. We need to let you pick some shows at some point. I feel bad now.
Yeah, I mean, well, we've got a surprise show coming up on February 25th. Will it be a fan suggestion? Will it be a me suggestion? We'll see when we get there. But in between that, we have on February 18th, No Way Out 2002. That's another show with a lot of context behind it because of the NWO coming in for the first time into WWE.
Yeah, so we'll definitely be picking. I felt like the Royal Rumble was. I kind of, I like that they kind of restart everything at the Rumble, because it does give us like a fresh jumping in point here. And obviously we were
Oh, yeah.
around when the NWO, I mean, we were around for both, but we definitely remember the NWO a lot more.
Yeah.
And so we'll have
Oh,
a
yeah,
lot
we
more.
were.
Yeah.
We were more conscious and more aware at that age.
Yep,
But yeah,
absolutely so.
for now, give us a like and a subscribe on YouTube. You can get there now at talkingsmark.com. Follow us on Twitter at talkingsmark. At talking_smark.
No, we still haven't gotten that one yet.
Yeah, no. New episodes drop every Friday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you're listening now. Please consider giving us a 5-star rating or a positive review.
Yeah,
It really does go a long way.
Yeah.
Give us a like on Facebook at facebook.com/talkingsmarkwrestling, and stay tuned for streams soon over at twitch.tv/talkingsmark.
Yep.
If you have questions, comments, show suggestions, or if you want to advertise with us, I don't know. If you
let us know.
You can contact us on
play.
any social media platform I just mentioned, or over at talkingsmarkwrestling@gmail.com. But for now, I think it's about that time. Hey, Tony.
Yeah, I think it's time to go, and then next week we'll get into a different era, and hopefully still have a pretty good show to watch, though.
Yeah, we're getting into the Attitude Era, the beginning of the Attitude Era, and the birth of DX with Shawn losing his smile. So it should be too bad.
We don't have to watch a Battle Royal.
We don't have to watch a Battle Royal. So, all right.
That's good. All right, guys. Take it easy.
See you next week.
Peace.